Tuesday.
Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday, not Tuesday, the 15th of June, 2025. I'm your host, Jan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
It's that time of year where I get to say it's fucking hot.
And Robert Kemp.
Welcome to Meltoween.
Got us swearing in the first 15 seconds for the YouTube algorithm.
Oh, yeah. We can't get monetized now. Ha ha.
Ha ha.
Hopefully that means there's no ads.
Yeah.
Not that I don't know what the rules are for like at what threshold do your videos actually start showing ads, or does YouTube just show them on everything? Like I'm a little uncertain
I think
these
they
days.
automatically don't get shown on things that YouTube recognises as podcasts or music,
Oh, okay, interesting.
or at least certain types of ads, maybe.
I've got beef with YouTube now.
I'm sure.
Launching immediately into our regular random
rant about
YouTube beef segment.
So I think it's been coming for a while, but the whole ad block situation has got much
Finally happened.
worse. Yeah.
In the Chrome browser, do you mean? Or
I have, admittedly I've seen it in Chrome. I haven't yet seen it in Firefox, although reportedly it can affect Firefox as well now. Whereas, they just straight up for a while they were putting a message on screen that said, yeah, you're not supposed to do this, but you can just X out and carry on. Now I've seen you have 3 videos left before we'll block you warning. And it's like, wait, what? What?
I just saw a headline that they're going to start slowing down the quality of the streams for...
you know what? I would believe that already. There are times where I think, like, my videos have been unreasonably struggling to load. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. My internet's fine right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's happening. And it's like, screw you, Google. It's like, I wouldn't mind if your ads weren't, like, a minute long now. And it's and terrible.
Getting longer.
And had any quality control at all.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't mind you making me watch an ad or two with a 5-second skip or something, even if you had to do that multiple times to get through the break. It's like, that was acceptable. Now that it's unskippable and a minute long on a video that could be 30 seconds long or something ridiculous, it's completely untenable.
I suppose TV adverts, in prime time on terrestrial TV had to meet a certain bar of quality. Yeah. Which is not the case.
As I well know.
I mean, they don't, but they're usually the ones that have the money to spend on a good advert, right? They spend their money to put them in
at least not necessarily from the TV station directly, but from the watchdogs or whatever.
Sure, but I don't know that means Yeah, I think that would just be more like the ad is not offensive or an outright lie,
Which they are on YouTube.
Which they are on YouTube. Or they're guns.
Or they're guns.
I mean, only if you're Zach in the UK.
I mean, obviously what YouTube should do, and by which I mean they definitely shouldn't do, but what they should do is just cater to everyone's incredibly low attention span and just split screen the ads. Put the ad in another video player next to the thing you're currently watching.
It's funny you should say that. I really need to look up whether I'm allowed to talk about this, and I don't know what I've done with my phone. It is not in my pocket. Damn.
Well, you can't.
Well, I can't, yeah. So I won't talk about it, but there is, something I have seen recently that, may or may not be a public product that does something to that effect.
Okay. I mean, it's not even like that would be new tech for, well, maybe for YouTube, but not for streaming services in general, because there's been, well, I don't know if it's official, but there's been, Twitch for quite a while, you could multi-stream 2 streams simultaneously on the same page, which was that's already ridiculous.
Didn't Twitch, for a while, one of their ad approaches was an enforced lower third or something, where, it would just banner up on...
Yeah, I think for certain kinds of streams or ads, but at least on Twitch, when you get big enough on Twitch, I suppose, when you actually have the control, you can actually, to some extent, choose when the ads happen.
Right, yeah.
You
plan a break.
Yeah, you have a scheduled amount of ads you have to get through, but then you can say when they actually start.
Sure, or presumably bundle them up a bit in order to... this is a quiet moment, and especially if you're a live streamer playing Fortnite games, right? That's kind of inconvenient.
Well, you just put them between rounds or whatever.
Yeah.
It's convenient that way.
Yeah.
But YouTube ads, obviously, it's not in the control of the person making the video any longer.
Nope, not in the slightest. We do on like the longer ones, like the recent SGF and Xbox Showcase, for instance, it does at least say it's like, oh, there will be fewer ads during the playback of this, and it will give you. I think that's why when you get the longer sets of ads at the start,
Right?
Because it anticipates you're going to watch that video for longer. But sometimes that's not always the case, right? Like, sometimes you just want to see, like, is this video even worth my time? And it's like, but I've got to sit through a minute of ads before I can make that choice.
And then, I don't think this is new, but the other classic problem with YouTube ads is, like, when you try and skip around in a video and it just keeps putting more ads in, because it's like, you moved the timeline at all, have another ad.
Yeah, it does that as well. Yeah,
I basically don't tolerate ads in any entertainment that I consume. I have the button. I've configured the button on the podcast app in whatever, on my iPhone or whatever, to have you can change the skip button length of time. So I think the default is like it skips forward 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But I've configured it to 10 seconds, so I can just tap, tap, tap until I hear the music bed change or whatever, or the adverts have ended.
Right.
And if I'm on the tube or whatever, I can actually get to that skip button on my watch, so I don't even need to take the phone out of my pocket to skip the adverts in the podcast.
Yeah, I think mine. I haven't changed it. I think it defaults to 30 forwards, 10 back, so I can skip forward and then I'll tap back in order if I've overdone it. But most ad slots are like a nice 30-second round number anyway, so it works out pretty well.
I've just set it to 10 both ways, and then I tap it 3 times or whatever.
Yeah, nice.
Sometimes I'm even counting, like, it's probably a minute. It's like 6 taps, tap, 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 tap.
Do that
No,
with YouTube,
overshot.
with the 5 seconds forward skip.
That's how I do Sky, right? You have to you know that an ad break is going to be roughly 3 minutes, right? But and you put Sky onto I forget what it's like, 30 times, I think, is its fastest scroll forward speed. So it's like, right, I need to time that to about 5 or 6 seconds and then hit the play button and then I'm good.
Yeah.
See now what's happened is I warned Gnome we were about to start doing some podcasting. Yeah, I can clearly see she's outside the house as Marzi has woken up.
Aww.
I may need to go deal with that, although she's heading this way. Oh well.
Okay.
Parenting.
Yep.
Or in this case, not parenting.
Not parenting. Lack of parenting.
Lack thereof, yeah.
Sorry, Marzi.
It's all under control.
It's all under control. She's back. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm definitely in a weird position where I happily pay for YouTube, but I do not pay for Netflix or Sky or Disney Plus or Amazon or any of those things.
Yeah, whereas I pay for a lot of them. But except YouTube, because weirdly that's the one that stands out to me as, boy, that is expensive for YouTube compared to...
It's quite expensive.
It's more than I pay for Disney, you know.
I actually just realised that I spend more time watching YouTube than Netflix. So.
Sure, I think that's true for me as well, in fairness, but like... I know that it's not quality viewing compared to...
No, yeah, exactly. That's the thing that makes it like kind of galling.
Yeah.
It's like you could be paying for stuff that you are choosing to watch that is not quality.
Yeah. Yeah. That's on me, I guess.
Kind of, but not really.
Sometimes you want the popcorn show.
Yeah.
Just something on. Or you actually want to learn something.
But most normal people, if they want the popcorn show, just something on, they would reach for Netflix, not YouTube, right?
Well, they would put ITV on a Saturday night or something.
I guess. What's ITV even like on a Saturday night? Like
the same as it's been for many years at this point is the answer.
Like Saturday night
was ads and decks, basically.
Right. Because they just assumed that everyone in the country was like out on a Saturday night, I guess.
It's like Britain's Got Talent, some game shows. It's the same old, really.
Yeah.
Michael McIntyre on the BBC, that hasn't changed.
Really? I don't think I've seen that guy for 10 years.
I don't think he's done any I don't think he's done a proper stand-up show.
He just does intros, right? Usually for the Apollo or whatever.
Oh, does he?
Does he still do that? I don't know. I haven't seen that in a couple of years.
No, I don't think he's done that in forever.
Oh, okay. Like MCing for right.
Yeah, like the host. Of that show.
Yeah. Is that still going?
Yeah, Live at the Apollo still going. I don't think that's quite as prolific as it once was. I haven't seen that pop up for a while, but I think it's still going. I went to an actual live gig, a bit like that, in Ipswich not that long ago. That had the sort of live at the Apollo format. Yeah, because Flo and Joe were there. Flo and Joan, sorry, who were excellent. I think I might have talked about this on the podcast before, but yeah, they were very, very good.
Well, I wasn't at the Hammersmith Apollo last night. I was at the Brixton Academy for LCD Sound System.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, which was awesome. But that's why I've lost my voice, if you're wondering.
Okay.
I was screaming North American scum.
I assume Daft Punk didn't play at your house, though.
Yeah. They broke into Robot Rock.
Oh, did they? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they broke into Robot Rock in the middle of Losing My Edge, I think, because there's like a line referencing. Obviously, they're like, I was the first person to play Daft Punk in New York or whatever.
Is the song that goes "Kick Out the Chair, motherfucker"? Is that an LCD Sound System song, or was it just him on someone else's track?
Kick Out the Jams, what, like the MC5?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
That's like "Kick Out the Chair." I think it's just something else. That's like "Kick Out the Chair, motherfucker." And I think it's him.
Like,
but
it doesn't sound like it. Maybe it's James Murphy. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like his voice anyway. But
yeah,
kick out the chair.
There might be a new album coming because they played a few songs I didn't recognise. So, but yeah, I never saw them live before, so it was good. They're doing like a residency, as in they're playing like all week rather than like 3 shows. They're doing like 8 shows or something in the same venue, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, interesting.
And this was like the 3rd one, but they're playing all next week.
Yeah, I wonder if LCD are a band that work better live, right? Because their songs are quite long form. You know, they're like slow builders.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So I wonder if that actually works better in the live format.
I think it does, because I saw them on the iPlayer for Glastonbury last year, and that would have been good. Like, I think they played All My Friends as the sun was kind of setting in the evening. Or maybe not setting, but in the afternoon. And that looked like a good moment. But yeah, of course, that's their finale.
Hey, do you guys want to know why Snow White flopped?
Why did you flop?
Because it's bad.
No shit.
I thought that was going to be a joke.
No, it's not a joke. We actually watched it last night.
What is it?
The Snow White live action.
The live action. Oh my god! I don't think I've ever seen a Disney live action remake of a original.
Lion King was okay. Jungle Book was also acceptable. They were okay.
That was the first one. Was Jungle Book the first one? No, maybe not.
It was. I think it was one of the first like extreme CG ones, right? You know, the Jon Favreau live CG thing.
Like, wasn't Jungle Book sort of like the testing ground to see if they could pull off the animals well enough to do the Lion King, because that's all animals?
Pretty much, yeah. It was getting that way, and then Lion King was the evolution of it, as far as I know, anyway. And this was all sort of at the same time while he was trying to sort out the volume and things like that for Mando.
Right.
So like it was it's kind of his big technology push was all around that time.
It's very George Lucas, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, yeah, it was like almost and a bit Avatar-y, right? Where they were,
or James Cameron,
where he was
doing it together.
They were doing the tech where it's like, you know, they can see the scene through the cameras as they were filming it, like, you know, roughly, like the CG wasn't complete, but they could they could use handheld cameras to direct the shots, like what, yeah.
And it's still always hilarious where it's like, The Lion King is, of course, called a live-action remake.
When it's really not.
It's a live scenery remake, I guess.
It's such a weird term now, isn't it? There's live-action elements, for sure, but it's like it's...
I was genuinely momentarily confused when I saw an advert on a bus this week for How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw that movie. I'm sure I saw that movie, and it was like... The dragon looked the same as it did in the original movie.
I think it looks worse.
Yeah, I kind of
It's
agree
like
with
they
you.
tried to make it marginally more realistic, and that ruined it.
It's because they've had to, right?
Yeah.
To make it work in a live. It's the as far as I know, it's the exact same film. Like no changes. It's just they've just
no
live actioned
changes.
it, and as a result, de-stylized it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why would you do that?
Sounds, well, money, I suppose. But
Yeah,
and I guess nostalgia for how long ago is that?
Yeah,
50
no,
years
it's
that's
ago?
not super long. I mean, it's quite a while now, but it's not super.
No.
It's not like Disney classics long ago.
no.
No.
Which is, I suppose,
So-
why they can sort of
And it wasn't-
justify doing this, because they try and modernize the recent, the more recent Disney remakes by adding like they change the songs and they
Sure.
to worse ones.
Yeah.
And
The worst ones.
It's not like the animation in the original How to Train Dragons was bad or anything. It's not like we're going from. Well, I'm not saying that the old Disney animation was bad in 2D, but like it's not like that was bad CG that they wanted to update.
how many of those did they do? There's like 4 of them, isn't there, or something? Like,
Well, I think there was the main 3, and then they tried to do that spin-off show, right, that everyone hated. Because the CG in that was actually way worse, because obviously it was a show instead of a movie.
low
so-
budget.
What if they did a super realistically, live actiony CG animated Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? It'd be so disgusting.
Oh, man.
It'd be like genuine-
I would so watch
Yeah.
that. That would like if there was one to do, that would be
Yeah.
it, because it would just be so bizarre.
It'd be mental.
I freaking love that film.
They could, hire the guys who did Final Fantasy 15. Food tech.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the food tech in there. Yeah.
The chicken baby.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good shout. I would definitely watch that one, even if it was exactly the same. Especially if they get Mr. T back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Snow White was
Okay.
bad. Yeah, they obviously changed the story to make it slightly less problematic. That there's a prince just turns up and randomly kisses someone and he finds sleeping.
I mean, that's traditional. I wouldn't necessarily say that's super problematic compared to some of the other things in that film, even.
Sure, yeah.
it's true.
And and Gal Gadot being the queen, I suppose.
God.
Yeah, being
Not good timing for that.
no, and somewhat chewing the scenery in not a fun way. Doing it, I don't know. It's just maybe it's one of those ones that just doesn't translate particularly well to the modern age anyway. And like maybe that story just wasn't good in the first place. Like, I mean, it works as a fairy tale, lighthearted, in an animated setting. But the moment you try and make it bigger, it sort of falls apart. Like,
Sure.
it just doesn't really work. I'm sure younger kids are going to enjoy it because of the increased singing. The visuals are nice. Say what you will about the controversy about the dwarfs, right? I don't know the actual story about it behind it, but like apparently that went through several revisions between using real dwarf actors, and then they settled on these weird CG dwarves instead. And it's like, well, why did you do that? Why didn't you just hire people? It's like, what do you do? And yet there's still one dwarf in it who's not one of the dwarfs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's
like, what are they? There's some kind of alien.
yeah, it's all a bit weird. And there's an awful lot of but why though in the plot of that film. And maybe there was anyway, but now you're sort of like, I don't know, but I was watching it going like, but why are they doing that? But why are they doing that? But why? And none of that ever becomes a thing. Anyway, it's bad. It's like Moana 2 bad, probably worse.
And the next one up is Moana for the live action remake.
Oh my god.
With The
that
Rock
actually
as the guy that he played the voice for.
Is that actually true?
Apparently.
Because I know they're doing Lilo and Stitch, right? That's
Well, they've
soon.
just done that.
Yeah.
That's out.
Oh, that's out, is
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Everyone
Yeah,
hates
it's
it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, I thought that one had a bit of a positive vibe to it, but
Well, everyone who's seen the original and liked the story elements of the original hates it.
right.
Let's just say the bits of the story that they changed, they didn't do a good job.
So I haven't seen the original or obviously all the new one, but like I know Gnome really dislikes Lilo and Stitch, like really dislikes it.
Interesting.
So get her to watch it and see if she likes the new version
Yeah,
of the story.
I wonder. Anyway, that's my brief movie corner.
Yeah, because we need to get on to video games, ideally.
Jam-packed
Because we've got so much
episode.
to talk about.
So much has happened.
All right. Well, let's talk video games since that's the subject of this podcast.
Podcast
and we're starting with news. What's going on?
Well, should we just get Switch 2 out of the way, like chronologically, or do you want to go into SGF?
Do we want to do Switch news and then, because we've been playing it, so it'll be part of our playing section.
Sure.
Maybe we get the news out of the way, and then we'll return to our actual experience of the Switch 2.
There's not a huge amount Switch 2 news going on since its launch. Because we'll cover all that, I suppose, when we talk about it and how we feel about it and all that kind of jazz. But there's only a few little things going on. So, No Man's Sky announced it's getting a Switch 2 edition update for free. So, that's good. Splatoon got a game announcement, but somewhat bizarrely through the Nintendo Today app, rather than any big showpiece reveal or anything. It just sort of calmly turned up, I suppose. But it's a Switch 2 exclusive Splatoon spin-off game. It's not a Splatoon 4. It's a solo survival game, maybe? We don't really know. It's not like they haven't experimented with solo formats before, right? With the single player stuff, and most recently the roguelike experience in Splatoon 3, which I forget the name of. Side Order? Yeah, Side Order. So who knows what this is? Whether does the quiet announcement suggest it's going to be like an expand-alone thing, a little bit like the DLC, but something to keep Switch 2 people happy while Splatoon 4 is cooking. And to be fair, I'm not ready for a Splatoon 4 just yet. I think they can... I think that can cook for a while. They need to come up with something a bit fresh.
Well,
to use their own terminology, they need something fresh in Splatoon 4.
I mean, that is kind of how it was between Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3, where it was like, this seems a bit too soon. Yeah, it
was a bit too soon and not enough new, and Salmon Run didn't get the love it deserved.
Yep.
Even though Big Run was cool, but as a rare event, not good enough, man. Needed more. So that's at least interesting. So it's another thing to put on the radar, I suppose. But we don't really know anything about it other than that.
So there'll be a direct at some point, presumably.
Yeah, maybe.
I did see a thumbnail of a video from the classic Squid Research Lab or whatever. Was that actually what was on the app? Did they put that video on there?
I don't know. I didn't see that version of the trailer. I haven't actually got the Nintendo Today app. I just saw what eventually made its way to the internet. But
yeah, that's all I saw of it. The thumbnail of the Squid Research, and I was like, oh, there's Splatoon things happening.
But there's more Splatoon news, and maybe that was where the Squid Research Lab kicked in. Because there's a free update to Splatoon 3 landing on Switch 2, which...
nice. Good.
Does a resolution update, for one thing. Gives it a big... They're calling it the version 10 update because it's 10 years of Splatoon now, apparently. So they've given it a big old resolution bump, so hopefully that dynamic resolution flicker that is pretty obvious in the previous Splatoon games, hopefully that's gone. The game already ran pretty well, so they can't really do much to the frame rate. So instead, they've the whole animation decimation thing that really bothers me in Nintendo games, that's gone completely. So stuff in the distance just animates at full frame rate. Lovely.
Good. Yeah.
All the town areas are now 60 FPS instead of 30 FPS, which is nice. So that's not a much more coherent experience. Even the little splat cast thing they do at the start of the game, they've improved that, so that all runs at 60. And all the animated, so that's really neat. And there's a big old weapon update as well. So there's what they call the third sets have dropped. So the third variants of every weapon. So you get the weapon, but different subs and specials to go with them. That apparently has been a long time coming. So that's a whole nice thing, and a brand new level, which is actually the very first level from Splatoon 1. The underpass, I forget its full name, but it's that iconic first level is now in Splatoon 3. So actually quite a nice update, really, for a game that supposedly died a year ago.
Yeah.
Not bad. So that's all I've really got on the Switch news. Is there anything else that's anyone else noticed? Nintendo-y?
No,
like
not the Switch.
Those are the biggies, I think.
Although
aside from the Switch itself coming out.
Although apparently not directly related to the No Man's Sky Switch 2 thing, supposedly that big patch, because obviously they did an update for all versions at the same time, but apparently that update is maybe a bit scuffed, apparently.
Oh, really?
There's been some talk of people legitimately losing whole saves.
Oh, that's bad.
It's very bad for No Man's Sky.
Yeah, that's usually bad.
But apparently it's an update, but it doesn't have an expedition, so it's just like a regular update.
Okay.
But they've supposedly updated basically the town mechanics to make it a bit more functional. To actually have mechanics, possibly even. Like, you can actually do things with the individual settlers now, instead of them having generic dialogue that doesn't do anything as they're walking around the town, and you can maybe edit the buildings more directly than just vaguely getting them. I don't know. I haven't installed it because it's like, I heard about the save file thing. I was like, maybe I'll wait for one more patch.
Maybe hold fire. Until at least starting it up and seeing what
also because no expedition, so, no time-limited thing to care about. Not that I especially care about No Man's Sky time-limited things, but...
I assume you're playing the Steam version as well,
yes.
Right? It's like... How does Steam save backup work? Is there like a history? I guess there's nothing you can access in Steam, right?
Yeah, it's like that's what kind of the problem I had when I installed Rocket League that first time, where it's just because it's automatic, you can't. In order to even prevent it from getting the saves, you already have to like get ahead of it by like not letting it start downloading and then if you accidentally forget that it uploads a thing, then you're already screwed. There's like no, you can't really do anything with the cloud save that is there.
It's
similar
just
on a thing that's there.
Yeah, it's similar on Xbox. Xbox at least knows when you're like multiple machines are out of sync with each other, and then picks one.
Yeah. I mean, that's even always been a problem with Steam's, like, if you ever have played a game offline and then it's trying to resync the cloud save afterwards, it's like, which one of these do you want? And it's like, I'm not actually sure.
Yeah. I think Xbox just picks whichever one had the latest timestamp and just goes, oh yeah, that must be the right one. So, I mean, I'm guessing a little bit there, but yeah, you just don't have exposure to what's in it.
Yeah, I mean, it would obviously be preferable, especially on Steam's case, if you could just literally make it download the files somewhere so you could just see them. But not that would really help if you didn't have a way to get them back into the cloud afterwards.
I mean, I guess if you
make the game
I guess
look at that save file temporarily or something.
Yeah, I guess if you knew what it was syncing and you had those files, you could just literally replace them in the game directory on PC at least.
Yeah.
And deal with it that way. If you knew what those even were.
But, that's the kind of actual... power user, I guess, things that PCs are meant to do. Just give you access to the actual files.
Yeah, let me do it, guys. Except, of course, some people don't want to do that because it encourages cheating and all that jazz.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think on cloud saves, that's kind of... that's going to be an inherent problem anyway.
Sure.
Anyway.
All right.
What else is news of the entire rest of the game industry that's not Nintendo?
So...
Because everyone decided to have some news.
Keighley 3 basically happened. So, we got a whole bunch... everyone else, basically, other than Nintendo, did a thing. So, we got a Sony State of Play, we got SGF itself, we got a Day of the Devs, an Xbox Showcase, and I think a couple others. Like, I don't know if some of the weirder ones, like the Future Gaming Show or the PC Gaming Show or Wholesome Direct. I haven't been paying that attention to whether those happened or not. Oh, Wholesome definitely happened, but I'm not sure about the others. I haven't seen those. So we'll cover those, the big four anyway, I guess. Well, big three and Day of the Devs, because it just happened to be there after SGF. What we got? There's a new Lumines coming. This is in
also
Sony.
On PC.
Yeah,
I saw that get listed on Steam.
This was in the Sony State of Play. The Gooch is back as well. So it's the Tetris Effect team, and boy does it look Tetris Effect-y now.
Sweet.
I mean, Lumens was kind of a prototype of that idea anyway.
I guess, yeah.
It kind of was, yeah.
So we're getting more Lumines with the Tetris Effect paint. There's a VR mode if you want it, just like Tetris Effect had. And that is out this year. So yeah, get hyped for more Gooch if you're into his, especially if you're into his music style and his taste. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. Let's move on, because I can't even remember what this second one on my list even is.
Classic Rob notes. He's just written the name of a thing and doesn't remember what the hell it was.
I know what that is. Sorry. It's because it's mislabeled it. It's spell checked it. So, Pragmata showed up, which is a game we heard about. It's a Capcom game that we heard about a very long time ago at this point. It looks kind of interesting because it sort of looks like it's done by Capcom's like side project team to an extent, like, you know, the same people that perhaps worked on games like Exo Primal and things like that. It's got that sort of that same vibe to it. I think, yeah. But it seems to be somewhere in the middle of like a Dead Space, maybe a Vanquish in terms of how it looks. It's like it's a third-person shooting character game where you're seemingly an astronaut, maybe doing the meme role of always has been. I don't know, with a small robot girl as your helper friend. It's got a good look, is what I would say, and it's by Capcom, so you can't really ignore it. It could be quite interesting. And despite the epic delay, I think they originally said this game was supposed to come out like 3 or 4 years ago or something. But despite the epic delay, they're now committing to a next year release. And had a nice funny little note at the end of the trailer just to say, yeah, sorry guys, it's been a while. So that's happening. Grasshopper Industries are back. You know, the Let It Die people and other weird-ass games. With something that I thought was going to be a Squanch game, so like a Rick and Morty style thing. It felt very much like that from the opening trailer, but then that sort of humor. But no, it's Grasshopper. They're doing what looks to be a No More Heroes style, character action game. Called Romeo is a Dead Man, where the world seems to have been taken over by weird things that can just casually come and rip your arm off at any moment, and your mad scientist friend / dad or father-in-law stabs you with a thing in the eye, and you become a super soldier of some description. I don't know, it's very confusing. It's a very weird trailer. Go check it out. I mean, there was an awful lot of character action games at these shows, is what I say, and it's like at least this one had a quirky edge. Grasshopper Industries, it described itself as 2026 maybe, so it's a while away. Silent Hill F made a showing. It's going to come out this year. Important for the league, potentially. People seem to think this might look okay, given that, like, other than that Silent Hill remake that happened relatively recently, Konami have been very quiet on the video game front for a very long time. Could be okay. Could be okay. I'm not really into those games myself, but fill your boots. Bloodstained is getting a proper sequel. Huzzah! I really liked that first proper Bloodstained game. There's sort of Castlevania like by the same guy, by Igarashi. And the D-makes actually were pretty good as well. The Curse of the Moon game, the NES style ones, they were pretty neat as well. So yeah, that's getting a full. I think it's more of a prequel actually. There's an awful lot, even though there's only been those games, there's an awful lot of lore in Bloodstained.
Naturally.
And so I think this predates those, but and it looked very much like the first Bloodstained game. So and I really liked that. So I'm pretty hyped for this.
Will the guy go, ugh?
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Do the guys... I'm just going to turn the fan on. I'm already way too hot in here. Sorry if that makes this podcast a bit noisy. I'll try my best to sort that out. But yeah, so yeah, if the guy in the arm... It wasn't just the it was the delay, right? You killed him and he would be like, ooh, and then he'd have a little pause and then be like, ee. It was great. And that one enemy that just tries to kill you with rock guitar in a medieval game. It's pretty out there. It's pretty good. Digimon are getting a game. Woo! But it's
They've
coming.
had tons of games,
I know.
but we don't care about them.
But it's coming out this year. They're league worthy, maybe. Have they had a game recently? I thought it had been a while since.
They probably had several smaller games. There was one fairly recently that people liked. I don't remember anything about it.
Oh, okay. Well, ignore me then. I thought that was a story just because it's like Digimon's back, baby. But I guess not. I guess I'm out of that loop.
You were never in that loop.
No, that's true. Name a Digimon.
Well, that's not actually that difficult.
Isn't it? Hang on.
Okay, well, apparently it is.
Garuman?
Probably.
Maybe.
You can pretty much say any word and add mon on
Add
the end.
mon on
You'd be
the
pretty
end.
close.
Saruman.
Yeah, probably.
Final Fantasy Tactics is getting a remaster.
But which one? The original.
The original.
So it's
So
remastering it again, I guess, except I guess the previous attempt was barely a remaster.
Yeah,
it was
so-
more like a
so the language.
emulation update almost.
Oh, you mean like War of the Lions?
Yeah.
The like PS. Well, the PSP one did add like it was a rebalance and also changed like added all the cutscenes and voice work. I think.
Right.
War of the Lions. So the wording here is quite interesting on what they're doing. They said it was like the original game, but with the War of the Lions voice work and cutscenes. So does that mean like the rebalance isn't in it?
And making it worse again for some reason.
Yeah, like it was a very strange, but also with they've redone some of the graphics and widescreen support. There's more information on screen, like the turn order and things like that wasn't there before
Because of the widescreen space.
because of the widescreen space. Yeah, exactly that. They're using their space to show more information. I'm not sure I'm super into I mean, it's a classic one of those like almost half-assed. Like they've redone the sprites and things look a little bit shot. Some of the effects look a little nicer, but it's like in some respects, a bit of me is going like, yeah, but that PlayStation one looks fine. Give me the pixely look.
Yeah.
Like they haven't changed. They haven't changed as much, I think, as you might have expected. Like it is pretty faithful.
At this point, just put all of the Final Fantasy Tactics in one game.
Yeah, why
'Cause
not?
It could
Where
run
are
on
the
the same engine.
Yeah, where are the advanced games? Come on, give them some love. But hell, it's a thing. Tactics is getting some attention.
Yeah,
for
but the same game for like the third time in not even that long.
it's been like 20 years since War of the Lions.
Sure,
at this
but
point.
and then it was like how many years for originally going out? Probably like 20 again.
I think it was about 10, maybe the first gap. So it was like 90s, right? The first game, late 90s.
Sure. But they should just make an actual new one.
They should make a new one. Agreed.
Probably on the Switch.
That would be a good place for it.
Yeah.
Sure. Baby steps.
It's finally actually going to happen.
Finally going to come out, and it's going to come out this year.
Out of nowhere.
Okay.
Almost.
Almost, yeah. After it was silent for like 2 years. Yeah, it's gonna come out.
How do we know that's true? Is there an actual...
How specific was the date?
I mean, I think it just said 2025.
Also, still possible
okay.
it might not.
I mean, I wrote down detail on some of these, but no, it's like don't take my word for that. They might have been more specific, but yeah, it's definitely sometime this year. So they've said. Then we got Hirogami, which I think is interesting because of its origami setting. It's like looks somewhere in between a Paper Mario and an action RPG looking thing. Looked kind of cool. Had a nice.
Is it the same as Tearaway?
Yeah, it's got a look. It looks a bit like that. Yeah.
Is it literally the same people?
I don't know. I'm not sure it is. Yeah, but it's definitely got that vibe about it. But it's like Japanese,
Sure.
More Japanese focused because of the origami theming and all that stuff. So it's maybe aesthetically that just appeals to me more because it's got some of that flair. But yeah, looked cool. Go check that out. They're making a new Everybody's Golf.
I feel like that was announced ages ago on
Yeah.
a different platform,
like a really
Switch or
like a really
something.
long time ago. But like apparently it's been like forever since an Everybody's Golf game actually got released. So yeah, I think you might be right. I think we might have known this was has been about for a long time, or maybe it was a re-release or something that was the last one. Well, maybe that's what we were thinking.
Well, I'm sure there was another one relatively recently, which must have been a re-release if everyone's saying there hasn't been a new game for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we have heard about this one as well.
So that's also this year.
Possibly.
So they say.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that one has better chance of coming out.
That 2D Ninja Gaiden, Ragebound, is also coming out this year. Looks pretty sweet if you like your pixel arty hack and slashy games. This does look really good, actually. It's got me a little bit hype. Especially, it was just nice to see like a 2D pixel art game get a bit of a spotlight in a Sony conference, right? Like that doesn't happen very often. I guess Sega are pushing this fairly heavily, which is it's good to see. It's good to see.
The Sega needs money for all these other games they're supposedly working on.
Yeah, I
supposedly.
guess. Actually, no, no, Shinobi's the Sega one. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Ninja Gaiden's the other one. Which is also getting a 3D incarnation, isn't it, this year? Like, oh yeah, because Ninja Gaiden Black 2 came out earlier in the year, and there's a Ninja Gaiden 3 or 4 later this year as well. Anyway, yeah, busy year for Ninja Gaiden. The Game Bakers, who are the studio behind Haven, which I played a few years back. It was an interesting game, a banging soundtrack. But they're joining on the climbing game tip, that hot trend after Jusant, I guess. With Cairn, which looks to be more of a procedural climbing thing.
I downloaded the demo of that in like a Steam Demo Fest, maybe the last one, but a month or two ago, and I never got around to playing it. But it's still on my Steam list, the demo. So okay. I don't know whether I think I even installed it and I added it to put it at the top of the list category, but then I still never played it.
Right, yeah.
So maybe I'll get to that at some point.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Not quite sure what, I mean, I doubt it's got the same fantastical story elements. This looks a lot more grounded in terms of its theming. But that is out this year. So that Digital Eclipse, the team behind all of the recent, like, really good historical collection things, like Atari 50, they are making one for Mortal Kombat, which like has like a boatload of the early versions of Mortal Kombat games in it. That is coming out this year. Those are, as I say, they're worth mentioning because they just do a really, really good job of capturing the history of it and adding videos with the developers and stuff like that. They do a fabulous job of making that collection more than just the games. So yeah, always good to see them do something. Sony are making a fight stick. They're making their own. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Doesn't have a name at the moment. It will probably just be called the Fight Stick eventually. But for now, it's called Project Defiant.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I suppose.
Who are they defying with their own fight stick? Like the
Mad Cats.
Mad Cats. Yeah.
Are Mad Cat's still about? Like that was the last big fight stick player. I mean, Sanwa make all the parts, right? And people just build their own now. Right, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. I don't think they've ever made one before. I guess the last time they would have, it would have been PlayStation 1 era if they did. But then in my head, all I can really think of when I think of like, did they do that before? Is like the NES arcade stick, and it's like that's definitely not the right one. Still kind of interesting. I guess PlayStation has regained its title of the fighting game platform of choice.
Yeah.
Maybe regained isn't the right term. Maybe they've always had it. I'm not sure. But it seems smart if that's the case. Hopefully it'll work on PC, that's all I'm saying.
I would have thought it would. I mean, normal Sony controllers work on PC, right?
With a little help. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they work out the box, but there are ways to get it to work.
But are we implying that it's going to be Bluetooth? Because fighting games don't like that.
Well, it's got to be wired,
Yeah,
right?
true.
It's got to have a wired option.
Yeah, surely.
Minimize
We've got
all of the
USB
latency.
right on the front of the PlayStation, so
Yeah.
should be easy enough.
All right, then we got something kind of weird looking, and that it's called Tides of Tomorrow. It's out next year, but it's a solo adventure that has a time travel element to it, but that time travel element is influenced by other people playing the game. So the examples they sort of give is like you're going on or the way the trailer is set up is like you're going on a heist of some sort, but by the time you get to the target, you find the safe you're about to rob empty, and you play back. You get to see a bit of history that happened, and it's another player stole the contents in their playthrough, and it's affecting yours. So it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So I guess the state of the world has many like this happened, but this hasn't happened states, and they showed you get to pick which player like whose history you're following, I guess. So it's like depending on what other player you pick, like the state of the world will be different based on what they did, and it's like it's mildly confusing because what happens if I guess it must be like undoing elements that players didn't do, even if they were already done by others, just so you don't end up with a playthrough where everything's already been done.
Well, presumably it must be like a playthrough must automatically be like a half and half. Where it's like you do half the stuff and it downloads the data to make someone else do the other half, but then your first half is uploaded on your data. So
so the things that were already done for your playthrough, I guess, can't. If someone plays your game, they can't be done for the player that's coming in. But I guess you don't know, I guess, going into it what that other player did. So your experience of that run is going to be slightly twisted, right? You'll try and do that. You'll make a choice, I suppose, to yourself and be like, oh, I'm going to try and do it that way, and then you get there and it's like, oh bugger, I can't because it's already done.
Maybe
it's a weird concept. It's like I find it kind of interesting, and it's sort of set in a sort of strange aquatic, almost waterworldy like aesthetic, but maybe not quite as bad as Kevin Costner's Waterworld. Anyway, interesting one. Want to keep an eye on. We finally got to see IO Interactive's new 007 game.
Oh, really?
We've seen some of that. It looks a bit like Hitman.
What's right?
I mean, that kind of makes sense for James Bond, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great fit. Yeah, for them to try a game like that. They're obviously playing up the story side of it because I guess it sounds. I'm guessing it's going to be slightly less open ended than Hitman is, right? Because Hitman is very much here's a scenario, go do what you need to do. Whereas I'm guessing Bond will need to be a bit more guided and have maybe, sequences of some kind to make a story flow along. What I will say is that I'm not into their Bond model. I don't. For one thing, right, he looks a little bit like a very just bland ass guy. Yeah. Is how I would describe him. He's just bland man. Who's the guy that plays? I was about to say, who's the guy that plays Kirk in the new Star Trek in the Star Trek movies?
I was going to say who
a bit Chris Piney, yeah.
Chris Pine, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Chris Pine is quite bland faced man. Sure. There's no slight against Chris Pine's acting. I actually kind of think he's fine, but like just that look, But the one thing that gets me right is like, if you want Bond to be a character who's undercover and not super conspicuous, it's like I don't know that you would pick someone with a scar down his face.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There's just immediately to me I'm like, well, everyone's going to know who you are. Yeah.
That's for Le Chiffre or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes they still do that, right? Where like he goes in the films where he like goes undercover, but it's obvious to pretty much everyone that he's just using a cover name, but they can't say it because it's all like political or whatever. Maybe,
yeah. Or there's an element of like, oh, that's just the film being like, oh, do they know? Do they not know? To put you on edge as a viewer.
Sure.
But
there's definitely an element in the films where sometimes certain Bonds are like, they're supposed to be following the protocol of being undercover, but they are like deliberately not caring about it, right? Or they're sort of doing it, but only because they're told to by the handler, and they're like Sometimes they don't even do it. It's like he has a whole cover story and he walks up and he's like, I'm Bond, James Bond.
Yeah. And on a side note, later on in SGF, IOI turned up again to basically say, oh, yeah, you saw that 007 thing we did on the State of Play, right? By the way, we're doing some Casino Royale content, but we're doing it in Hitman. So Mads Mikkelsen and Le Chiffre are actually turning up in some Casino Royale themed mission in Hitman, not in Bond.
Right.
And it's like, but what strikes me as extra weird, it's one of their elusive target missions, right? Which are like only live for a fixed period of time. So this mission only exists in Hitman for the next month. And then it's gone. And it's like, that seems like a rather large bit of marketing and like expenditure for it to be temporary content.
Well, but it's also a licensing help where you
don't
have to worry about it after a month.
Yeah, maybe it's helpful. Maybe it made the license deal there super easy and it advertises the Bond game, I guess.
Yeah.
Still kind of interesting. But yeah, we know what that is. It's like, I've never played a single Hitman game, so, but, you know, people really love the World of Assassination trilogy. So, I feel like it's a good fit. Maybe this will be worth checking out. And finally, the State of Play's big reveal, like the sort of last entry, I guess this was like what they were saying is their most hype thing, is Marvel vs. Capcom without the Capcom.
Marvel versus,
yeah. So, and it's not made by Capcom. Yeah, Marvel and Sony reached out to Arc System Works, you know, the Guilty Gear guys, or the, what was it, the Dragon Ball Fighters team. Yeah, fighting game stalwarts. You know, that's all they do, but they do them really well. To make what is actually a very Japanese take on Marvel fighting. Like they've been given free reign, and I think that's the coolest thing about this. It looked like a pretty good. They call it's a 4v4 tag game, which they tried to make sound like that's a new and exciting thing, and it's like, well, I guess it is. It's like it's one more person. It's one more than three. But they've been given free reign on how they present it, how the characters designs work and look, and it's that element of it that I think looks rad. Like their slightly mecha Iron Man looks pretty cool. Yeah, definitely one to watch. I think like as long as it's as fun as an MVC was, and I'm not talking MVC Infinite. Everyone hates that one. But if they manage to even slightly recapture any of the MVC2 or MVC3 magic, they're onto something here, and it just looks real cool. It's got a good look, comic book-esque look to it, but with Japanese flair. Yeah, neat. Its full name is Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. I don't really know what Tokon means, but
Tokon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fighting Souls. An endless battle of what's the Soul Calibur thing? Like a tale of souls eternally reborn or something. Anyway, that was the State of Play. Then we got the Keeleys. SGF. Oh, there's another one. There's another Keeley show coming up, by the way. We're not far away from Gamescom. Don't forget. That's like in August. So, there will be more. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds showed up. You know, that other Mario Kart. To show off the fact that it's like, we're not limited to just the Sonic world. We're going to have guest characters from Yakuza and Persona and stuff like that all coming into the show. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, as paid DLC. Oh, hell no. I was like, what a great, I don't know, that's a dampener a little bit. It's like, I don't think like the general feeling around Sonic Racing Cross World is that it's going to be pretty good, actually, when it comes out. People seem quite hype. But I'm not sure you needed to, like, dampen it a little bit by saying, like, hey, this is going to... we've already got DLC planned. We've got DLC, you know, you're going to have to pay for it, guys. By the way, that feels like that's not a hypener, that's a dampener for me.
A hypener.
Hypener. What would be the opposite of a dryer? A dehumidifier.
Yep.
It's the opposite of a dampener, a spring. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. So I don't know. And there's been some talk as well about Crossworlds recently, saying like they've since that beta they ran a little while back, they've been doing apparently quite a lot of work on the balance and stuff to it. So like the later iterations that I think have been played behind closed doors by journalists, like have been better. So yeah, the hype is growing. This could be an interesting year for kart racers. More on that later. Atomic Heart, of all games, is getting a proper sequel. You want your weird future Russian?
Sure.
Like Bioshock-ish game? Well, there's another one for you. You like weird hot robot ballerinas? I guess who
doesn't?
We've got a game for you. That first game was interesting and quirky and had a great soundtrack. So I'm actually kind of hype. Like it was interesting. I'd like to see what they do differently. They're supposedly being a bit more open worldy this time, a bit more freedom on what you can do and what you can tackle. Because the first game was, despite its look of open world, was actually fairly linear. It's just weird. It's out there. They have managed to capture something unique, I think. Which you can't say about an awful lot of the games that were in these things, but they're doing something. They've also got like a MMO that they're supposedly doing. Like, I think they've called it The Cube, which I find funny because that ITV game show The Cube, but The Cube. But yeah, everyone's much less interested in that. It's like, just give us Atomic Heart 2. And then probably one of them, what I'm calling probably my most technically impressive game of the show, because this looked so cool. What if you played Punch-Out, but every character was a Muppet, and they looked like the Muppets? Like,
wow.
Really, really looked like the Muppets. Like,
cool.
It's Unreal Engine 5, like, technical showpiece, this thing. It looks...
Right, to make them look like a felt Muppet.
Yeah, and animate like the Muppets do, and like, holy crap, this game and it's genuinely mind-blowing how this thing looks. And they were like, no, this is all in engine. This is all being done. This is all real time. It's like, oh, wow. It looks great.
What's it called again?
It's called, I haven't said, it's called Felt That Boxing. As in, a pun on felt.
Oh, I really felt that, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're going to be swelling around the left eye.
One can only hope. And a slowdown as it happens. It looks phenomenal. But there was no release date attached to this thing. I bet it's a ways off. But so hype. It's so different from anything else shown that, I'm just into it. I'm immediately into it. And then they followed it up with another game that had like had a claymation look to it. I guess we had Harold Halibut last year. That was a little bit of a disappointment going for that look. But there's someone else is having a go. What was the other there was another claymation game we played. Oh, South of Midnight, right? That sort of tried that.
Well, not exactly claymation.
But a stop motion-y, framey sort of look, right? And didn't necessarily commit all the way. This looks like it commits more to that aesthetic, which I think is a good idea. Like, make it more like, if you're going to do that, go hard on that. I suppose Howard Halibut was more puppeteering than claymation as well, I guess. But yeah, I think it's got a really strong look. It's basically, it strikes me as being similar to Unraveled 2, right? It's a co-op platformer by the looks of it, puzzle platformer. But its strength seems to be in its aesthetic. Like it really does look full on claymation and great. Good look, another good looker, is what I'll say. And so was this next one. Do you remember Lego Builder's Journey a few years back?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I've not played it, but I think I've got a copy of it now, but yeah, I've not played it. But people say that was it's a good. If you like how Lego bricks look, and that's all you want to see, like none of this like modern Lego jauntiness, I suppose. And it's like if you just want it pure and about the bricks, and it's like Builder's Journey was had that look, and this is like an extension of that. It's seems to be like Brothers Two Souls, but with two Lego studs.
Oh, okay.
And attaching things to themselves in order to solve puzzles to get through levels, and yeah, looks neat. Looks real cool. I don't think there was a release date attached to that either, but Lego Voyagers, it's called. Yeah, cool. I mean, it's unexpected because I didn't really think they would expand on Builder's Journey as a, do essentially what is a sequel to that, but there we go. Nice little surprise. If the latest Planet Coaster isn't doing it for you, Frontier are making another Jurassic World Evolution game.
More Jurassic Park.
I don't know if that's a good sign or not. I mean, I think compared to Planet Coaster 2, Jurassic World 2 was comparatively better than... like, between Planet Coaster 1 and Planet Coaster 2 and Jurassic World 1 and Jurassic World 2, the Jurassic World 2 was the better of the twos, probably. Right.
Oh, okay. So you think Evolution 2 was more of an improvement over it than Coaster 2 was?
Coaster 2 was a bit too much the same as 1.
Oh, okay.
But then 3, I don't know. That might just be the same as 2.
But, or is it the 2 Point Museum, right, of the series? Because everyone seems to think 2 Point Museum's the best of the 3.
Yeah.
But I don't know if, like... It's hard to say because I haven't played... Well, I still haven't got round to playing Jurassic World 2, even though I have that.
I think I've got Epic I think I got that. Yeah.
And I also didn't play Planet Zoo, obviously, even though I kept thinking about possibly playing that
Right, I forgot that existed.
But presumably Planet Zoo and Jurassic World are kind of similar in the fact that you're building animal enclosures at a certain level.
Sure, yeah.
And, it's all the... Well, at that point, it was definitely all the same engine tech, where it's like, you can see it's like the same paths and the same AI, character AI or whatever from guests running around.
Right, yeah.
So I feel like that's where you're risking it being too much the same, which is the problem with Planet Coaster 2, where it's just like, it's just the same as Planet Coaster 1, and also you kind of took a lot of the content out and then have been gradually putting it back in.
Yeah. It makes you question, like, when I guess they're not super fast, these releases, but like if they are taking things out, like who is this really for?
Yeah.
To an extent, like because they really do seem to be churning these out now.
And they've
Frontier,
been like,
right?
It's not like they haven't. It's not like they didn't spend all the time between like Planet Coaster 1 and Planet Coaster 2. They were just constantly releasing DLC for Planet Coaster 1,
right?
So it's not like they weren't even like making money or whatever during that period.
Sure. I mean, I mean, it's probably clear that Jurassic World must be the thing that's doing the most money for them to have knocked out.
I'm sure it also helps them as films.
Sure, yeah. And they're doing it in quicker succession than Planet Coaster right, because Planet Coaster was first, right?
Yeah.
Then Jurassic World Evolution, and we've only had 2 coasters and 3 of these in that time.
Sure, I mean, almost alternating apart from Planet Zoo was in there as well, obviously.
Somewhere in there, yeah. They're able to do these quite quickly. Anyway, this is 2025, so it's out this year. Yeah, maybe if you've got 2, maybe play that if you haven't.
Yeah, exactly. If you already have 2 for free, you should just be able to play that.
And then you're probably not missing much. I don't know. I don't know. Hard to tell. One game that is coming out this year, and shit, yeah, Yacht Club's second game, technically, I suppose. Mina the Hollower is actually coming out.
Whoa.
How specific were they on that date?
Precise.
Okay.
October 21st. It's gonna come out. Huzzah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I really like Shovel Knight.
I do already see people playing a demo, so there's a demo on Steam.
Oh, sweet.
Evidently.
Sweet. Yeah, it'd be interesting to check that out. They're going for a more, like, old school Zelda-y feel to this one, rather than a 2D platformer.
Rather than Mega Man, basically.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. But as I said, it's like, other than all of the... okay, to say it's their second game is a bit harsh. Shovel Knight had so many expansions and extra campaigns added to it, but it's like...
And at least one spin-off, I guess.
And at least one spin. Oh, yeah, Shovel Knight Dig. Was it called Dig? Or anyway, the one that was a bit Mr. Drillery.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's call it their third game. Let's be generous. Yeah, it's good to see them actually do something. They've been busy. They have been busy as a publisher since the huge success of Shovel Knight. A bit of me does want that Shovel Knight amiibo still. That's a cool little statue. All right, there's another Dying Light game. I don't know why I put that on the list. None of us care about Dying Light. It's zombie parkour. There you go.
I mean,
Yeah.
theoretically, that's not necessarily a thing that I would like playing, I guess. Like that kind of game, but I just never got into the series. So
Sure.
It's like, but then again, is it really a series? That's the actual question you have to ask at this kind of thing. Would you care about jumping in at free? Probably not. I think they're probably all quite standalone.
They probably are, yeah. I imagine so. And this one seems to be a little different in that you seem to have... I mean, they give the impression that you might have some form of infection that's not like full-on zombieism, like you're making use of their powers but not a zombie or something. So it's like they're leaning that way. I think they're steering a little bit away, because like Dying Light 2 sounds like it was like a little too ambitious, or at least in the way they were presenting it. Remember, because they had that whole thing about like your choices really matter and it shapes the world, and it's like...
Everyone says that.
And yeah, I'm not sure any of that really came to actually pass. Although they do still use Dying Light 2 as a stress test on Digital Foundry, so you know.
Oh, really?
Is that just because it's like badly optimized or something?
Yeah, who knows? And probably the thing that gave me the biggest pop of the whole thing, honestly, like a bit of me would like, even I was watching it and Gnome was in the room, and it was one of those trailers where I did an out loud exclamation. Oh boy. We're getting a new Scott Pilgrim game, motherfuckers. Scott Pilgrim EX by Tribute Games, the same team that kinda did the original, right? Because it was an Ubisoft studio, and then they split off and became Tribute. Who are also the same team working on Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is another beat 'em up due this year that looks incredible, to be honest. Yeah, they're doing another Scott Pilgrim game. It looks like they're doubling down on the kind of I think what they were going for with the original Scott Pilgrim, but actually nailing it. So the original Scott Pilgrim has elements from like River City Ransom, like in the fact that there's shops you could go to and you upgrade your character and you spend your money on stuff like that. Something you'll be more familiar with if you played River City Girls more recently, because that's the same thing. And but River City Girls is excellent. But the thing that Scott Pilgrim didn't have was the ability to sort of move around the map like it was an interconnected thing. That's the bit they seem to be adding to this. So it's good beat 'em up combat with Scott and Anna Managuchi are back. So, you know, it's going to have a killer soundtrack. Out next year. So hype. So hype. And a new storyline as well that's not tied to the Netflix cartoon. That's not. It's a new thing. It's a new thing. Penned by the original guy. So Brian Lee O'Malley is on board doing the story work.
That's good.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I'm super hype.
Potential.
Yeah. Yeah, I literally was like, oh. I remember exactly what I did now. I was just sitting there going, "Oh, they're not!" Like when they sort of the big words Toronto come up, and I'm like, "Oh, damn!"
You're like Cher from Clueless. Get out!
Yeah. Man, big pop. Back on the Lego tip.
For some reason.
What if Lego did a Mario Party game? Like, just straight up did Mario Party. Like,
I mean, sounds like a Lego's kind of wheelhouse for kids or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's exactly what they're doing. Like, It seems to be, but with the same humour that they've done in a lot of their Lego games recently. Like, it felt very, like, I played Lego 2K Drive, right? It was the last Lego game I played, and it's like,
right.
the tone of that seems to be the tone of this. So it's I mean, it could be all right. I was a little bit disappointed.
Like Mario Party, so
well, yeah,
but yeah.
Well, maybe they'll do Mario Party better. I don't know. Who knows? But they did like a little bit of me. Yeah. Was like, oh, only 50 mini games. There's like
the old Mario number. That's what they did at the start. It was like Mario Party 1.
You need like 4,000.
You need infinite mini games.
Yeah,
randomly generated mini games. No, don't do that. That would be a bad idea.
Procedural video mini games. I mean, that could work to some extent, but. Just combine elements of the fusion. Party game fusion. Combine any game with any other game. Yeah, Fusion Frenzy, yes. That's what Fusion Frenzy should have been. Take any two party games and mix them together into something else. Did something else try that? Wasn't there like a... Oh, no, it wasn't a... I'm thinking of some other thing where there was like... You could take two like NES-style games or something and you mush them together and it turned them into something new. Like a genre mix-up thing. Can't remember what that was. It sounded interesting. I guess it couldn't have been that interesting because no one ever talks about it.
Because you don't remember what it was.
Yeah. What else we got? So my wild card from the Fantasy League got announced. They are making another Resident Evil.
I mean, that's not surprising, really.
But another mainline Resident Evil. We knew they would do. I don't know if we talked about this on news on the podcast, but it came out recently that they're doing like a Code Veronica remake. So I guess I'd kind of assumed that would be this year's thing or something like that. But no, Resident Evil 9 Requiem, as it's called, is going to be the next one. It seems to be a return to Raccoon City from the trailer.
Oh, really? Okay.
But like obviously it's well destroyed at this point. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, coming out next year. So unfortunately doesn't help my league at all in the end, but interesting that one of us got a wild card come out. Next one, again aesthetically interesting to me, like there's a game called Into the Unwell. Looks like an action RPG, but in terms of visuals, it's like they're going for that Cuphead look, but obviously everything's done in 3D now as a
30s animation.
Yeah,
like American.
As a more of a brawler than a super hardcore platformer.
What happened to the one where you're the FPS that's like a mouse?
That's still coming. That came up somewhere else. I don't think I wrote that down, but Mouse PI.
Right.
Now featuring Troy Baker. Because of course. That's coming out this year, I believe, and still looks real cool. That's still happening. That looks real. I like the look of that probably more than Into the Unwell. Let's be honest, but it's still kind of cool. And my final pick from the show is Studio RGG turned up because of course they'd have to show something, and we got to find out what Project Century is. Now, there's a bit of confusion here for me. So Project Century, we last saw it was set in the early 1900s. And they showed some stuff happening on a old Japanese street, something like that. This trailer was set in the 40s, Japan. And we don't really... does that mean like there's multiple timelines to this thing? Is it like a segmented episodic thing?
Does that mean there's literally going to be the entire century? You're going to play like every 10 years or something in this one street?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm now... It's way more interesting to me now because it's like this is like a concept that RGG haven't. Okay, RGG they have a very sort of known formula at this point for their games. Let's be fair, but like this seems to be breaking that mold a bit.
It's actually just going to turn out to be a Yakuza game, though. It's going to turn out that this street is actually Kamurocho. It's just that ancient Kamurocho.
I mean, but I'd be so into that. Like, I've even put in brackets to this, it's Jazz Yakuza. Because, obviously being set in there was a huge jazz influence of it. It's like Cowboy Bebop Yakuza. It's like, except without space. I don't know. It's hard not to be hype about anything RGG do, in fairness. So for me, and it's got a name. That's the other thing. It's called Stranger Than Heaven. rather than Project Sentry. No release date or anything like that. Nothing tangible. But at least we kind of know what this will be called, and some hints of its concept. Fun times. Yeah. And I guess this means maybe we will have a year. Oh no, we got Pirate Yakuza this year. I was like, are we going to get a year without an RGG release?
No.
And don't forget, they're still working on that new Virtua Fighter as well. So yeah, Virtua Fighter 6, I guess, is under development at that studio as well, which I don't think we saw anything of. Anyway, moving on. That was SGF. All my picks from SGF. Day of the Devs. Only one I'm picking out from here because some of the games that were in that were in some of the other shows, and I didn't pick them out as that interesting anyway. The Heart Machine, who are best known for Hyperlight Drifter, and most recently Hyperlight Breaker, they're making what looks like to be something not hyper like. They seem to be dropping their usual color palette of pink and purple, that kind of look, and making a 2D Castlevania or Castlevania, not really Castlevania, Metroidvania-y looking thing. Still, well, kind of nice 2D looking. I wouldn't call it anime, but just nice 2D graphics. Not pixel art this time, or like Hyperlight Drift or anything like that. But it looks kind of neat. It's called Possessors, where the final S is in brackets. Possessor, maybe Possessors. The trailer's going to do more than I can in describing it. But it's interesting to see them slightly breaking away from their mold. That's all. They have a style, and this isn't necessarily that. So then we got the Xbox presentation, and I'm going to say this up front. I think this was one of the most underwhelming Xbox presentations we've had in a long time.
Oh, okay.
I think this was pretty low key. And also, it was the only presentation that had some of that old school feeling to it. They had, Phil Spencer and, I forget her name. Anyway, they had people stand up and just say, we're passionate about video games and that shit. There's the most old school feeling of the presentations. Whereas the others kind of preferred to just kind of get on with it. I mean, other than SGF had Keeley on stage and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. They still did all of that. But this felt corporate in a way that most of them seem to be leaning away from.
That's a shame. Yeah.
Yeah. So, maybe Xbox missing the mark further missing the mark these days. Somewhat highlighted by the fact that High on Life is getting a sequel?
Really?
That's exactly what I thought. It's I wasn't super down on that game. No. I thought it was kind of fun in a very they don't make them like this kind of way before.
Yeah, I remember seeing you play that. Yeah,
but it's also Squanch Games, and assuming they've broken away from the. Oh, I forget. You probably know a bit more about
Jason,
this than I do.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah, presumably they've broken away from his influence to some degree. But they're making a sequel. And it looks like more High on Life. With dual wielding now, it seems.
Justin Roiland, that's his
Justin
name.
Roiland, yes, thank you. And Mr. Knifey, or whatever it was called, is still there. I'm not sure they even swore during that trailer. What are they even doing?
It's a trailer. Try and keep that out of the trailer. Or believe it, I guess.
Yeah. I'm just, baffled that they're making another one. It's what a weird thing. Did that game even do well? I just don't know. Strange one. Plague Tale is getting the next game in the series. This will be the third. Interestingly enough, they're changing the naming system. It's not called A Plague Tale something. It's now called Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy. The subtitle comes first, but it's still called Legacy at the end. It's strange. There's two subtitles, bookending the Plague Tale. I don't think there was really a lot to glean from that trailer. It almost looked like Roman in places, a bit gladiatorial stuff going. I don't know. I couldn't really get a feeling for the setting particularly, or if it was the same characters, or I don't know Plague Tale well enough to make a judgment like that. But There's another one of those coming. Then Microsoft showed off like, hey, we made a handheld, and it's like, no, we didn't. You rebranded a ROG Ally,
right?
Like the messaging on it felt weird. Like they really didn't want to say Asus, and they didn't. they still called it an Xbox ROG Ally because that's the official name of the thing. But at no point did they say Asus. There's only one small bit where it shows like the Asus.
Everybody knows that it's a ROG Ally.
There's only one bit where they show like I think it's not the Asus logo. I think it's the ROG logo, and it's like ROG X cross Xbox, right? And the two joined together to make this thing. I guess ROG is the brand they're going for. The Republic of Gamers,
but it's an Asus brand, isn't it?
Yeah, it is an Asus brand. It's it just the whole thing felt kind of weird. I don't think these are new devices particularly. Yes, there's an Xbox button on them, but they're even being sold as the Xbox ROG Ally and the Xbox ROG Ally X, which are the two ROG Ally variants that already exist. So it's kind of odd. They didn't even really... And then they showed it a little bit, but they didn't really push the fact that this does have a new version of the Xbox app running on top. So it's like it has got a new front end, an Xbox front end on there. But they did say that it's running on Windows. Like they said, the flexibility of Windows with the convenience of Xbox or something like that. Something to that effect.
Do you think this will be like, do you remember when Apple, like, they were obviously developing the iPhone, but it was all under wraps and everyone wanted them to make a phone. So they were like, look at this Motorola phone. It's got iTunes on it. Like, it's like an iPod, but it's a Motorola phone. Do you remember that?
I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, we know that they're trying to make their own, or they, at least at one point, they were trying to make their own handheld. And if the rumors are to be believed, their own handheld variant is on hold right now. So this is all we're getting in the short term. But I think there was also some news that suggested that this new version of the Xbox front end is only going to be on this device for a while. Like, it's not going to be publicly available to put on your Windows PC, or if you've already got a ROG Ally, you can't like put Xbox on it or this Xbox experience on it. So that will come later. We know that much, but it's just not out of the box. Like, this is almost a trial run, it seems, for a big picture experience on PC, I suppose. Felt weird. That's all I'm going to say. Felt weird. Silksong got a mention.
Oh my god. The
good for my leave
Reddit must have exploded.
I mean, but it wasn't like a trailer or anything.
Well, the last time was barely a trailer.
No, all that happened was that I think it was during the ROG Ally thing, they showed some, like, during that on the screen was footage of Silksong. And then when they were talking about the ROG Ally, they said, and Silksong will be later this year on Game Pass.
Mm.
Whether any of that can be believed is.
I mean, if it's on Game Pass, there's some kind of deal happening at least.
Yeah.
Someone's been talking to someone.
I believe that part, because Hollow Knight did eventually turn up on Game Pass, right? Not day one, but sure. It was eventually a Game Pass title. So I believe that part, but later this year part, and the fact that there's still no trailer,
But presumably if you're saying that it's going to come out on Game Pass, like a deal with Microsoft for Game Pass must have some actual date determination in that contract to some extent.
Maybe, yeah. Some stipulation that it should be buy here, but we're like, where is the buy here? Like, or maybe that's just not how they do deals. I don't know.
No, maybe.
I don't know. Super Meat Boy's getting a game.
Hopefully better than the last one.
A 3D game, yeah.
Does that make sense?
I don't know. I
mean,
it kind
as
of
a parkour game, like in third person, maybe.
I mean, it looks like the thing that bothers me a little bit is like, okay, maybe it's going to be a little hard to read because have you seen the footage of this? Like, it's almost like an isometric camera.
Mm.
So like a top-down, slightly off-angle 3D platformer viewed from quite far away. So Meat Boy's still quite small, I guess, like he was in 2D. But like I can't help but think that's going to be just a little bit tricky to read compared to the 2D game. But maybe that's fine. Maybe they design around it so it's not quite as precise.
Well,
as...
Or it is just like it can be precise, but it just has to be designed for that perspective, basically.
Yeah.
Like everything has to be
fixed cameras and stuff, just so it all works, so you can actually see it. And then because it looked a little bit like stuff floating in an abyss to some degree, like a lot of it.
Which the Meat Boy levels kind of already were.
Yeah. Anyway, that's coming out next year. I don't think that was being developed by Team Meat. I think it's someone other team taking it on.
Probably not a good sign.
Maybe not, or maybe it's just a sign that Team Meat don't actually do anything anymore, or exist potentially. That there, Indiana Jones is going to get its DLC September 4th. And I think they haven't explicitly said it here, but like it's a pretty certain thing at this point that it's going to get a sequel, like a proper sequel. Game seems to have done well enough.
So the DLC is new story
content. Yes.
Nice.
I don't know if they said if that will be included in Game Pass or not. Given that it's DLC, a bit of me thinks it won't be. Not sure on that one. But anyway, that's out later. There's probably a year. Well, September 4th, so it's probably almost exactly a year after the game came out. We're going to get a little tidbit more. That game was kind of interesting. I quite enjoyed it. Game Freak are making a game that's not Pokemon.
Well, they've tried before.
Yeah.
One other time.
Well, they've done it a few times.
Well, sure. But recently.
It's called Beast of Reincarnation. And that's all I remember about it. Just like,
Right.
Yeah, it didn't really. It hasn't set a particular memory in my mind. So maybe that tells you what you need to know. Other than it looked more visually competent than the Pokemon games. Like the technical level seemed good.
Are they trying out things they might bring to Pokemon in the next 5 years?
I wonder. I think this was. I'm really trying to remember what this game was. I think it was a character action game, which is probably why I can't remember it. I think a bit of me saw because there's been some rumors recently that Scalebound might be being
God damn it.
Might turn up again. That project might be restarted. So I think I saw the start of this, and a bit of me was like, "Oh, is this the Scalebound rumor?" And then the Game Freak logo came up, and I'm like, "Oh no, it definitely isn't. It's something else." And then we got something that genuinely looks pretty interesting. So, In Exile, one of Microsoft's internal teams, are working on something called Clockwork Revolution. That seems to be like, what if BioShock Infinite was more British? That's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
I think it looked more interesting at first and then got less interesting as the trailer went on. So the setting's pretty cool. It's in a sort of, I don't know, almost Discworldian sort of like, maybe that's not the right parallel, but like the science is pretty good, but it's like it's all steampunky and like and cogs and gears, and robots are kind of are pretty sentient in this world and stuff like that. And you seem to be just some guy on the underworld trying to do some criminal jobs and stuff like that. But then there's an element of the powers of this world use time travel in order to bend it to how they want it to be, but you've come upon a bit of that power in some way, so now you're starting to bend it to what you want. There's some indication that maybe you're literally doing that in some scenes, a little bit like BioShock did, where you're like, perhaps you're in the past making something, then you come back to the future and it's different. Whether that's in your control or not, or whether that's just storytelling, not quite sure. But yeah, it's worth watching that trailer. I'm not sure it's a brilliant trailer, but definitely looks well made.
Right.
It's got to use the football term, it's got an air of quality about it. Like, it's just.
I mean, you want quality. Quality is something you want, for sure.
Yeah. It's weird now because I think I still have the problem where like you look at an We're in that phase of character action games at the moment where you just look at them and you go, it's another one of those. Like, unless it is a big name like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry or something like that, it's hard to feel excited about those games anymore.
It's true.
Even if they're good, like I guess, or maybe they aren't that good. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe nothing is filtering through, except Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, I still look at an FPS game and go like, well, I guess I know exactly what that is. Maybe this is Time Shift, but with a steampunk setting. Anyone remember Time Shift?
Actually, no. It's Time Shift.
Drugs.
No, that was Haze.
Oh, yeah. Similar.
Haze.
Haze has a very similar aesthetic, though.
With the bees, wasn't it? The Haze?
No, it's like, Time Shift was... Oh, I forget what era it was. It was sort of... It might have been early 360, maybe late Xbox or OG Xbox, something like that, where it was just an FPS, but you had some time manipulation powers where you could do some stuff to the environment, and it was all right. So this could be that. That's like the negative I can give it. Obsidian are releasing a game very, very soon that isn't the Outer Worlds.
2.
Outer Worlds 2, yes, correct. But it is another 2. They're making a sequel to Grounded, that like Honey the Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, somehow.
Thing.
Like, it feels like they only just finished the first one.
Yeah,
because they just released the DLC for it, I think.
I mean, this is coming out in game preview in July, so not Microsoft's early access equivalent. But yeah, Grounded 1 was in it. It was a game preview game as well when they launched that. So again, it's another one where it's just like, okay, that's getting a sequel. I guess that did well enough for Microsoft to greenlight another one. Interesting, but not that interesting. I'm not going to play it. Yeah. Aphelion. I'm only mentioned this to kind of make fun of it. It's a don't nod game that looks like you're, I don't know, a spacefarer that gets trapped on an icy planet, and there's an awful lot of walking and platforming in that trailer. But I'm taking the mick out of it slightly because they use such a trope. They use the now and forever music that like every trailer does. You know, that sort of. Ugh. Why would you do that? Like, everyone knows it's such a thing at this point. Anyway, bad trailer. I'm not into it. But it is Don't Nod, so I guess if you're into the Life of Strange series, and pretty much only that. I guess they have done some other stuff, but that's like their big thing. Could be interesting. As I say, I didn't really get a feel for what it is from that trailer. Is the platforming and moving around the world the main focus now, rather than it being a somewhat an adventure and choice game, which is what Don't Nod are mostly known for these days? Don't really know what that's about. But don't use that song in trailers. It's overdone. Just don't.
And it was ruined by Cold Space Round 2 coming out after they did it in their
trailer. Oh yeah, they did it, yeah.
And it worked for their trailer. I thought that was actually a pretty good use of that one time.
Sure, I mean, it could be funny if your game is a parody, yes, and it's presenting itself in that way. Sure, go for it. Like, but this wasn't. This was straight faced. You can't do that anymore.
We're gonna go back to. I literally can't remember the other song. What was the other classic song? One Gears of War uses.
Mad World.
Yes, that's right. Someone's going to bring that back next.
Oh, God.
I think someone did recently. Probably. Like, I can't remember what. I'm sure I came across like another cover, like sad man cover of Mad World. Man, that's going to bother me now. Yeah, the next one was kind of interesting. There are no ghosts at the Grand. It's sort of. It's I don't even really know how to describe this one. It's a mystery game of sorts, but with a very supernatural element to it. Oh man, I'm struggling with this one. You're gonna have to watch the trailer. I remember it, but I really don't know how to describe it. Like, it looks kind of cool, from a sort of narrative perspective. It looks like you're trying. No, okay, I know. That's what I was trying to think of. You know those sort of like house flippery type games or power wash simulator type things.
Yeah,
it sort of sets you up like that. That's the easiest corollary. You get tools by which to improve the buildings around you, but there's actually a big old narrative associated with it. Like, they've done the obvious thing where it's like, this game isn't just that. There is something. There's a hook. Rather than just making stuff look pretty. Like, I guess Power Wash like edged towards that with some of its weird story stuff, but no, there's the narrative seems to be the thing here. You've just got tools to put bookshelves back together or repaint walls or stuff like that. With some reggae thrown in. It's got a bit of a reggae vibe to it. Oh, yeah. It looked kind of nice. Kind of interesting. 2026. That's coming out. Another somewhat surprising sequel. I played this last year, I think. Planet of Lana. Which was a 2D puzzle platform. Well, 2D perspective puzzle platformer. That's getting a sequel. That's coming out next year. That's kind of all you need to know, because it looked like that game.
Sweet.
It looked like more of that game. It was all right. It didn't outstay its welcome. Maybe a sequel pushes that boundary a bit. Maybe the sequel's... I don't know. Finally... Well, not finally. Not even close to finally.
God damn it.
But... yeah, I picked this one out just because it looks kind of weird. Like, it seems like someone else wants some of that Pokemon money that's not Pal World. There was
Cassette Beasts or the other one.
Yeah, I mean, it looked more Power Worldy than anything else, but and there's another one. It's called Animo. It's out next year at some point. Although I wouldn't say it looked like Pokemon in the sense that you like captured them, and it didn't look like a factory game in the sense you make those Pokemon do your bidding like you do in Power World. It looked kind of like you maybe become the critters you collect and actually be them or control them directly and stuff to do stuff. I don't know. But it's definitely got that the look of the critters is it's quite Pokemon-y again. Expect more lawsuits.
Probably not for that though.
Or is the plan now just flood the market with Pokemon likes so Nintendo can't sue us all?
Well, maybe they're predicting that Power's going to win. This lawsuit that's still happening.
Maybe, yeah. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and Final Fantasy XVI are finally coming to Xbox platforms. It's been a while, but we're finally getting them. No word on whether that means they'll come to Game Pass, though.
Game Pass, right, which is the only
important thing. I mean, I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no word if that's happening. But at least Xbox consoles are getting that, which is good. And my final pick is the new game from Double Fine. I don't know if they've really heard much from them since Psychonauts 2, so it's nice to have another actual in-house Double Fine game coming out this year, October 2025. We have Keeper, which, okay, imagine Banjo-Kazooie, except Banjo's a lighthouse.
What? What, like in Beyond Good and Evil?
Well, kind of, yeah. Sort of, you're like a lighthouse that comes alive and starts walking around and apparently needs to get somewhere. There's like no voiceover or anything in this thing. And like shining your big ass light on stuff. And Kazooie's a big green bird now. But
right.
Instead of a
it's
big
like
red
Bioshock.
bird.
There's always a lighthouse.
There's always a lighthouse. You are the lighthouse.
Yeah. That would be a twist in Bioshock. You were the lighthouse all along.
Yeah, I mean, hard to really tell exactly what's going on, but I mean, you have my interest just because you're Double Fine.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's it.
If anyone could make a round the twist game.
Right, yeah. And that is my list of the announcements. I mean, clearly there was some other stuff. We got a pretty boring, I say boring. We got a Death Stranding 2 trailer somewhere in there, but it was more of a the best description of this I heard was from Easy Allies, where they described it as, you know when you go on a chat show and they show a clip from the film they're promoting, like rather than a trailer, it's sort of like a scene out of context, so it's hard to really know exactly what's going on. It's like, they showed that, which is sort of interesting, I suppose, but focusing on a character called Neil, who we've also seen in the past as like the replacement for the Mads Mikkelsen character. He's like the soldier guy this time. Neil, young Neil.
No longer known as young Neil. Now you will be known as Neil.
Excuse me. I'm sick of all these games. Let's,
Clearly.
Yeah,
let's talk about some more games. I'm done with news. I'm handing the show back to you.
Because that's the end of news, and it's time for us to talk about what you've been playing.
Which is also kind of news, technically.
Yes.
We all
Because
got
why?
we all got a Switch too. We all got a Switch
Got a
too.
Switch too.
Na 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 na. Two.
Merry Switchmas. To one and all who actually got the pre-order like we've managed to do.
Yes.
Not that supposedly they're that hard to get anyway.
No, that like it turns out they have been turning up, just free form, shall we say? They've free range switches are about.
Oh, that's good to hear. I hear it's been a really successful launch and they've
Yes.
sold tons.
Oh boy, have they!
So much
Yeah,
for
is that the news
everyone
part?
complaining about the price.
Wow.
Not
Yeah.
that people really complain
No one
about the
cares.
price of the Switch system, but
No, the price of the system itself is not the controversial point. Like it's I actually think it's a relatively fair price point for the hardware itself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you put it up against the competition at the moment, which are Steam Decks and ROG Allies, all of which are a fair bit more.
It's true.
And if I'm being perfectly honest, I think the Switch 2 is more powerful hardware than the Steam Deck. Less flexible, for sure, but like I think it's more powerful.
Yeah. And you're going to have games more tailored to that hardware.
Exactly, yeah,
probably.
you
Even
could-
the third-party ones.
You'll be able to optimize for it, which is something you can't really say of
Indeed.
the others.
Yeah. So where do we start?
Yeah, where do you want to start?
With the hardware?
Yeah, let's go for it. How do you...
It's really nice.
It is nice. I mean, I take all my concerns about the magnets back. Those things are sweet.
Well,
This magnets are pretty sweet.
yeah. When you've got the Joy-Cons on the side, they do, you can still feel the
There's
slight
a-
amount of wiggle.
there's
It's
a bit of
predictably.
wiggle.
Yeah, there's a bit of wiggle, but
And I
it's
have
not that
seen
much.
Some, the classic reports of like the connector thing that sticks out has got fucked up, but it's like, well, that's always going to happen to some people somewhere.
Yeah, I've had some mechanical problems. I definitely have.
Although the funnier unboxing your Switch and having it be fucked up story has been like apparently some American superstores were stapling the pre-orders to the front of the box, but because it's a slimline box, they were just like stapling
the
it through
screen.
the screen.
Yeah.
Morons. Oh my god.
I mean, I guess you don't know what's in the box, so like, I can't really blame them for that, but like, also staples.
Well, yeah, sure.
yeah.
It's kind of weird that the Switch is like just positioned right at the top of the box.
Yeah, I mean, even without the staples,
Yeah,
you'd
that
think
is
you'd
weird.
want, it to be within the most amount of padding, put
Or
the
even-
screen away from the front of the box.
Or even upside down.
Yeah.
Like, it would offer a bit more protection. But
Yeah. They want that Apple school of box design where you open it and you see it and then or whatever.
yeah,
I don't know.
I guess it's like slightly hampered by the fact that the Joy-Cons aren't packaged, connected, right? They're
No,
somewhere
no.
else in the
Yeah.
box. You don't have to provide that little bit of space for the sticks on the Joy-Con,
Yeah.
which would have
Yeah,
solved the problem.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's quite a funny story though. Sorry if you're those
Packaging was
people.
quite nice. I was comparing it because I was putting my original Switch into its original packaging
Yep.
as I was taking the new one out, and it's like,
I
it's evolved.
think
somewhat.
Nintendo packaging is always pretty nice. In fairness,
Yeah,
like
it's
the
all very
the
nice.
Wii U box was pretty neat because it had like two drawers to it that you pulled out sideways, and they were clearly labeled like what they were. And it's like,
very nice.
The Nintendo packaging is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that was slightly weird in my case, when I got my order came slightly late from Amazon, but the outer cardboard slip that goes around the box had the plastic seals cut. Like someone had taken it off at some point.
Oh, suspicious.
Yeah, I was like, have I got like some
Is there a potato in there?
Return pre-order refurb or something? But it turns out it's fine.
Yeah, because yours came a few.
Anything in the box. Wrong.
Yours came a few days after ours.
Yes.
Which
it came exactly when they said it would. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Yeah. I did. The guy that dropped off my Switch, he was a DPD driver, but he did sort of say
he knew what it was.
Yeah, it was like we've been doing a lot of boxes of this size today. I had to ask. I had to ask at some point. It's like, what are these? It's like I've delivered a lot of them, and someone told me. I said, yeah, they're Switch 2s. It's like, and he was at least in the know enough to get it. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't just like, what's that? Like,
right.
He was like, okay, I get it. That was kind of fun. It made the delivery that little bit more special. Thank you, DPD driver.
And so, where do we start? The screen. What do you think of the screen?
I mean, I'm a bit spoilt because I'm a Steam Deck OLED owner.
Right, you're an OLED guy. Yeah.
It's not as good. I've seen so many posts online about people saying that it's a downgrade over the SWOLED, right? Like the Switch OLED. Because it isn't as bright, it isn't as clear, the black levels aren't as good. Like all of that is true. It's exactly what you'd expect from an LCD panel. That said, like it's still an improvement over the original Switch. Like obviously, the 1080 bump is nice. Obviously,
what's the Steam Deck resolution again?
It's 900p.
900.
So even though it's an OLED, it's not full 1080, but it's not far off. But it's it's definitely not. It's roughly the same size as well, I think, as the Switch 2 screen. Like the actual. If you take the bezels out of the picture, the amount of screen you get, I think, is similar between the two platforms.
Would you rather have a 900p OLED than a?
I think I would. I think I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that I've been switching between the two a fair bit in the last couple of weeks, and I do think it just pops more on a. It's more aesthetically pleasing to me. But obviously the Steam Deck doesn't have VRR on its screen, which obviously is a thing that the Switch 2 only does on its handheld screen, and I'm assuming works great because I've not noticed it frame, at least.
And if anyone between us three is going to notice, it's you, Rob.
Yeah,
I definitely wouldn't.
I mean, the problem is that I think the Switch 2 quote unquote games I've played are kind of run fine everywhere anyway. So whether or not
one specific place, well, one of the games runs very badly in one specific place, but not due to frame dropping, due to the function of the game.
Oh, well, you'll have to explain what you mean later, but yeah, and in terms of Switch, actually designed for Switch 2 games, I've not seen a problem anywhere. Although I haven't used mine much in handheld, to be honest. I've been using it docked.
Obviously,
because it's great, yeah. Because it works fine just that way. Although, it's super stupid that you can't turn it on with a fucking Pro controller, like the Pro 1 controller. Like, that is so irritating, as it turns out. Like, I kind of thought going into it, it's like, this will be fine, I'll just turn it on. And it's like, no, very quickly that becomes really annoying.
I had to get the new Pro controller, because I knew that would annoy me. So,
yeah.
So I can give you a review of that shortly. But
anyway,
I mean,
it's just super frustrating, just because it's like, that must have been a solvable problem.
I have no idea what the reason for that is.
Because every Xbox support all their historical controllers, right? Well, okay, not all of them. The series supports the One controllers, right? And they work fine. They can turn the console on, no problem. All you do is hold the Xbox button and it works, right? How is it different here? Like if I haven't paired the controller with the console, fine. But surely the wake up protocol that can't be something that needed to change, can it?
I have no idea.
Can it? I don't know. That's baffling.
I don't know why is it so annoying in your case when you have to go over to the TV console anyway to open it up to get the thing out because you don't want the child messing with it, so it's going to be in there right next to the Switch anyway, and then you have to reach and then push the button.
It's more annoying because of the way the Switch starts, right? Okay, it's not the actual act of pushing the power button on the unit, because yes, you're right, I have to go to the cabinet, I have to unlock the cabinet, open the cabinet, get my controller out of the cabinet. While I'm there, I turn the Switch 2 on. It's that if I forget to then push buttons on the controller,
it goes to sleep too quick.
It goes to sleep.
Yes, I did have that happen to me one time. With just as I was taking as I took the Joy-Cons off, pushed the power button. By the time I got round to attaching them and remembering to push the button, it's like, it's gone to sleep.
But like if in my case, it's more like, okay, now I'm going to go sit on the couch. I'm then going to turn the TV on. I'm then going to change the TV so it's on the Switch's input or something like that. And it's like, if I forgot, and then the other problem is like, because I've just entered a thing, was I in the middle of a thing? Have I accidentally poked something on the menu? But while I'm thumbing
button push thing, right?
Yeah, and usually you can get away with it just pressing once, and it will actually stay awake longer. I think if it's registered an input.
Yes.
So like that kind of. But there's a process I'm now used to, but it like for the first few times it was just like, oh, this is a pain in the ass. And also, I just can't believe they didn't do it. Like, it's stupid.
It's still dumb.
Yeah. Like, the other thing that's unique to the new controllers, I hate that there's no button cord to get to bloody game chat. Because let's talk about game chat. Game chat actually works really well.
Okay.
Okay.
I did it with Kippers, and I'm really quite impressed with how well the microphone works.
I still have to try. I'm skeptical that the microphone on the device all the way across the room is going to be okay.
It's a bit roomy. You can tell it's not a microphone in your face, for sure. But the noise cancellation, surprisingly good. Yeah, I was quite happy with it. And okay, yes, it has using game chat like that has without wearing a headset kind of has the side effect that I feel like I'm shouting at the TV. I feel like I have to elevate my voice to do it. So okay, that was true. I still did that, but it was.
But did you need to?
I'm not sure I did.
Would the noise cancellation also have gained it or whatever?
Yeah, because so what happened was we were playing Mario Kart World. We'll talk about that later for sure.
Obviously,
but like while we were doing that it doesn't duck the volume of the game based on whether it thinks someone's talking or whether it thinks someone else is talking at you, right? Like the game volume just lowers. It's like like maybe 50%, maybe more, just drops that. So then it can put like the game chat, the voices coming out of that at the 100% or something. Do you know what I mean? It's doing that, but it's kind of like how I set up games when we play with a headset anyway on PC. But that doesn't matter so much because it's right on your face. The sound is going directly to your ears, so volume levels are seem less important to me. So it does that, and so you can still hear someone talking into that mic pretty clearly. So Kippers did both, actually. He played it handheld for a while, and it sounded really good when he was using it handheld, and then he docked it later on, and it was still audible, you could tell that he was now not near the thing, but I could still make out what he was saying easily enough. It wasn't a problem. Neither of us were using a camera, by the way. I haven't tried plugging in my Lenovo webcam into the Switch to see if it's one of the things it would accept. But it worked fine. The thing that bothered me, as I say, is the lack of C button is actually a problem, because the way to get the game chat without the C button is to press the home button, which suspends the game, and then go to game chat from there. And then the game chat panel doesn't bring the game back as soon as you do that. The game chat just runs on its own thing, looking at your home screen. So if you need to fiddle with something whilst in an online lobby, you've got to be quick about it, because the game is suspended while you're doing that, unless you've got the controller with the C button that brings up that menu in place. And I think that's so stupid, and could have been worked around with just going back to the game, like when you enter game chat or something, or the last thing you were doing. Or you could just do it with a button cord, like Xbox does. Like, if you want to do, or Steam Deck does, or like when you're emulating stuff and things like that. There could have just been a way to push to like the home button and something else, right? Because there's no chord related, there's no combination of buttons related to the home button, right? The home button does a thing, but like they could have solved it with like, maybe if I push home and snapshot at the same time, that'll take me to game chat. And it's like, but no, they just didn't think about it because they want to sell you a damn controller. And it's like, God damn it, Nintendo. Solvable problem, not solved. It's annoying. But you bought a controller, so you're fine.
Yeah, I got the controller. Yeah, it's got the C button, which I haven't used yet, but I'm looking forward to it. The one thing that I did, and I mentioned to you guys, but I don't know if it's a problem, if it's not Nintendo's fault, probably isn't, is I have this headset that I use for the podcast, which is quite nice. It's like a open backed,
Oh yes, you've talked about this before.
Earphones.
Yeah.
It's a Cos Porter Pro, which apparently they have a kind of a cult following, these things, because they're quite cheap, but they're quite good. But I like it because I can hear my own voice, like without having to have side tone or whatever.
Sure.
And also it's quite good theoretically for if the game sound was coming out of the TV or the speakers, and the chat, it's a bit like the old Xbox Live, was coming out of the headphones. That would work quite well.
Yeah, you can't do that.
So I got a new Cos Porter Pro, exactly the same, but with a boom mic coming out of it.
Nice.
And with a standard TRRS connector. And that should plug into the new Pro controller, but the microphone doesn't seem to work. But then I tried it on the PlayStation 5 controller, which should be the same, and it doesn't work there either.
Oh,
so I think it might be the microphone's broken. Maybe on that
sounds
one.
like it.
And I didn't know how else to test it, because I actually don't have anything else I can plug that kind of thing into, because my MacBook Pro does have a 3.5-inch jack,
I guess,
but it doesn't do the microphone, I don't think.
I guess my HyperX headphone does have a jack into its USB adapter, so I guess in theory you could plug any headset into that HyperX adapter and it would be fine.
Yeah, maybe.
So
something
like that. Annoying. Something like that could be tried. Or the Xbox controller, that does it too.
I don't think I've got one modern enough an Xbox controller to have a jack on it. I don't think so. Anyway, so that didn't work, but I think maybe it's just faulty, the one I got.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
An old phone with a jack still. That's the other option,
yeah, exactly.
I guess. Yeah.
I think they're all gone now, or recycled or whatever.
An MP3 player. But then you can't test the mic. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to test the mic. That's the main thing. So it's the sort of third tip ring or whatever it is. Yeah, but other things about the Pro controller. Yes, it wakes from sleep. Wow, just like the old one did on the old one.
Must be nice.
But it has those new like buttons, the paddle buttons that you can map. So that's the one other novelty.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, it's nice. It's I think it's a kind of matte material. It's a slightly different material and grip than the previous Pro controller, which I liked. So it's nice, but I like the previous Pro controller absolutely fine.
It's a good feeling controller.
But the new one is nice too. Slightly different feel, but nice. But yeah, those extra buttons, you can map them to whatever you want. And I've only used it for one thing so far, but it is pretty cool, which is I mapped it to sprint in Zelda, and it means you can sprint and change the camera.
Yeah.
So you can sprint with thumbs on both sticks.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Which is actually really convenient. Yeah, so I'm sure it'll be useful for a few things. I don't know what people use it for in Mario Kart yet, but it's pretty nice for Zelda.
Yeah, I can see that. Can you map it to chords? Can you map multiple button press? Like a combination of buttons.
So.
Oh, so it's only a single button it replaces.
I think so. Yeah, but you can do it at any time. Using the home menu.
Okay.
The quick menu or whatever.
And I guess there's two back buttons. So I guess if you really want a chord back there, you could, use two buttons to do it. For
you
some
could
reason,
do. Yeah. But I mapped both because I was hitting them by accident, so I mapped them both to the sprint in Zelda, which isn't the end of the world if you.
That actually sounds pretty convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. But yeah, so all good with the Pro controller so far.
Nice. Yeah. I will say, like, I ran while we're on the sort of comms aspect of it, still hitting that. I did find one annoying bullet point in the settings. If you try and pair a headset to the Switch, does not support Bluetooth microphones.
Yeah, another thing.
Yeah. So you can do Bluetooth headsets, and that seems to work just fine, actually. But with a little bit of latency. I noticed on the headset I used, but not terrible. But yeah, the fact that Bluetooth mic isn't supported, it's like, that seems like
because I've got like the Apple AirPods perfectly normal, and I think they would pair perfectly fine for audio, but it doesn't use the mic, which is stupid.
Yeah, it's because and they're also limited by the fact that Nintendo do just use. It is just fairly basic Bluetooth, but with the 7-channel limitation that Bluetooth has. So you can't. If you pair a headset to it, it takes up a couple of the Bluetooth channels. So the number of controllers you can then attach to the console reduces. Because don't forget, Joy-Cons are 2 controllers and they use 2 Bluetooth channels. So it's
they do.
no, is it 7? It might be higher than 7. It was. I seem to remember that was the limit. 7 was the limitation for something. Can't be right because I guess you can attach 8 Joy-Cons to the thing, right? And play 4-player stuff. That's doable. Anyway, I've got that a little bit wrong. But anyway, using Bluetooth headphones reduces the number of controllers it can deal with, somewhat significantly. And it's that's weird. It just feels weird. It's somewhat explainable by the tech, but I don't know. I would have liked to have used a Bluetooth mic. Makes total sense. Come on, Ninty. Get it right. Anyway.
David got the official camera.
Oh, yeah.
And I just find it a little bit weird that by default it's USB-C, comes with a USB-C cable, and there's no USB-C on the dock apart from the charge.
Yeah, that is
so
weird.
You have to plug it into the port on the top of the console every time you put it in the dock. It's just kind of weird.
Did they try an adapter? Because you were talking to me about.
I don't know. I just looked at after I saw that. I looked it up online, and you can totally use a USB-A cable adapter. Yeah, because so it should work fine. But I was like, that's weird. I think they did that because then obviously you can plug it in
tabletop.
Tabletop, yeah. But I don't know. They should. I don't know why they have to have USB-A ports on the side of the dock because there's 2 of them. Why couldn't it all be USB-C these days?
It is a slightly strange choice. I guess the old Pro controller charge cable was A to C, right? So maybe they're trying to just be helpful to that. But then they could have solved that by having one A port, one C port, or something.
Yeah, one A and a C. Maybe, I don't know.
It's a little strange.
It's a bit weird because what if you buy a USB-C flash drive or whatever? You can't plug it into the dock. I guess you plug it into the console. Weird.
Do those even work on the Switch?
I don't know.
I'm not sure they do.
Maybe not. Sorry, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that you could.
I'm just trying to, unless there's some other third-party accessories or something that were like that, charging docks. I guess for third-party controllers, they were kind of a thing, right? So I guess they plug in via A. Maybe they're trying to just keep a few partners happy. But yeah, I'm with you. They could have just put C's on. It would have been fine.
But not for Smash Bros.
Oh, of course. Bugger. Yes, that is the reason. The Smash adapter. But yeah, I guess you could have just got 2 A to C adapters and plugged both of those in.
The most ridiculous setup ever. I mean, it's fairly ridiculous that it already uses 2 USB connectors anyway.
Yeah, that is weird. I still don't understand why that is. Maybe it's a power thing. Maybe the GameCube controllers needed power for the Rumble.
Or maybe it literally is like a channel thing where you've got 4 controllers worth of inputs. Maybe they
should be fine over USB bandwidth. And yeah, I reckon it probably is power for the Rumble. That's probably why it needs 2. Probably not advanced enough USBs to request that much power. Probably, I'm guessing. Or maybe the Switch wasn't geared up to deliver that much power over its USB ports in the dock, so they just did 2. Guessing.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, but didn't that thing come out for the Wii U? So that would be a Wii U limitation.
Well, maybe. On the older version of it, yeah, but they did
they did remake it for Ultimate, yeah. Yeah, anyway, weird. Plenty of weird stuff. It's annoying it doesn't have Dolby Digital for me specifically. Because that means I can't get surround sound out of that thing through my setup.
Oh, no.
But that's a problem you've had with other consoles.
That is a problem I've had with other consoles. The Steam Deck has the exact same problem because they haven't paid for Dolby Digital, right? And so I'm not rocking good enough hardware to do this properly. And I couldn't use my trick I do with the Xbox to get rid of the latency problem, which is the problem, which is why I don't do it, essentially. But yeah, some background. I don't do it with my Xbox because if I feed a proper 5.1 signal to my TV, I don't have eARC on my amp. I have regular ARC. So the TV has to, but I don't even use that because it's worse than if I just use optical. But optical can't carry full 5.1 uncompressed audio. The bandwidth isn't there on the Toslink standard. The cable itself definitely could do that, but that's just not the Toslink standard. So the TV has to do a conversion to Dolby Digital to make that work. And that introduces hella latency. The TV does not do that well enough. So my workaround is to put the Xbox into DTS digital, into Dolby Digital mode, which the TV also doesn't do a very good job. Even though it's in the right format, it also doesn't send it through the ARC channel without latency. So that also doesn't work. But I have a little HDMI audio extractor that can take the Dolby Digital out and turn that into Toslink, which I can then feed into my amp and get surround sound without latency. Huzzah! We got there. Can't do that with a Switch because it doesn't kick out any kind of Dolby Digital signal. So the extractor just doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And for some reason, my TV doesn't understand the audio coming from it when I put it into surround mode. It only picks up the left and right channel. So something's broken there anyway. So, yeah, something's not quite right about the audio setup, or at least it's not. At least my bet is that it's too modern.
Yes, compared to your stuff.
Like it's only using like the what would work on an absolute bleeding edge setup, I guess. Or a bleeding edge enough setup. And most people don't care about the stuff I care about, like audio latency and stuff like that. So, like, I imagine, my guess is that a lot of systems do have a fair amount of audio latency with this, but if it works at all. But putting it in stereo mode, it's fine. It's fine. It's just, weirdly, it's a step back for me from the Switch, which just did surround and it worked fine. So that's another annoyance. But
I found the settings for surround sound on the PlayStation 5 extremely confusing, and the Switch 2 it was super easy.
Well, there's like only two options on it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like
stereo
I just turned it on
surround.
and it worked, and it had a test mode, and it was like, yep, it's coming out of the right speakers.
Yeah, I think Xbox does a really good job with that as well. Like they have a pretty good test suite for that stuff. It's weird that PlayStation don't, actually. I thought PlayStation would be very... They used to be really good
confusing.
at that.
I think it has a bunch of options on it that I didn't understand, or that you would probably understand on the PS5. Well, I remember it being confusing when I set it up, whereas...
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. I'm not actually sure if I have the correct settings on my PS5, but it seems fine.
And that's all that matters. As long as you don't notice, that's...
exactly, yeah.
That is all that matters.
Yeah.
So I haven't really tested the battery life particularly. I haven't really gone far with that. I haven't used it handheld enough for that to see how well that holds up. Like, because those stats don't sound great. Like, for how long that battery lasts, like out of the box, like on paper.
Well, Zach will know. Zach will have tested it, right?
Well, not really. I played it for a while in handheld when the power went out the other day, but not long enough to fully trade it.
We've been having a lot of little cuts recently.
Well, in our case, it was an actual.
How do you play it, Zach? Do you play it like docked or plugged in?
On my monitor.
Docked, right? Yeah, okay.
I haven't yet had the problem that the old Switch Joy-Cons had of like their signal being so bad that if I like leaned too far back in my desk chair, it fucked with the signal, even though the Switch is literally on my desk. Yeah. Although I think that may have been the like first generation left Joy-Con problem that they had, where they just sucked.
That was, I remember that. That was pretty common.
How do you do your sound then, Zach, through the monitor?
No, I just plug my headphones into the headphone jack. Take them out of my PC and plug them into the headphone jack on top of the Switch, because it's right there.
Right, and just use headphones all the time.
Yeah. Well, I did temporarily use the Bluetooth to a little Bluetooth speaker that we have in our house.
Oh, okay.
which obviously, that definitely had latency as well.
But those are usually only mono, actually.
Well, I don't think I would have noticed because it's like a tiny little speaker right in my face.
Okay.
But yeah, I did that for a little while. It just made getting the boost on Mario Kart harder because of the latency.
Yeah.
Because you're not hearing that beep at the same time as the visual.
You got to look at the two. Look at the two. How do you feel about the sticks? The sticks do seem better, but they still feel a bit on the small side. And I've heard some of them do have stick drift out of the box, so we haven't gotten away from that problem. Apparently, mine are fine.
Yeah.
I haven't had a single issue with them, but I am using the Pro Controller most of the time.
Yeah, I'm using the Pro Controller. So the Pro Controller sticks are the same as the previous Pro Controller sticks, as far as I can tell. They're nice.
The only thing that I noticed in particular that was slightly awkward about the controller is because of the magnets. Now, when you're using the grip, they have to go in flat sideways. They don't slide down from above like the old one. So there's the front of the grip part just is cut off because it has to be perfectly flat for the controllers to slide in. So it's not even got that very slight ergonomic curve up onto the square part where the controllers are.
Yeah, it's worth noting.
It's not that noticeable.
It's worth noting. I appreciate the weight of the Switch, or the lack of weight of the Switch 2. When I compare it to the Steam Deck.
Well,
right,
it is compared to the Steam Deck.
It is a lighter machine, but I do miss the chunkiness of the grips on the Steam Deck. It is just a much more comfortable thing to hold in your hands.
I mean, it definitely felt heavier when I did play it in portable compared to the Switch. I was like, oh, this is stressing my wrist slightly.
But then I think
previously.
But then I think some of that stress is for both the Switch and the Switch 2 is just because it's so flat backed.
You've got good grip.
You are doing more with your hands to keep it there. I haven't used the mouse.
No.
There's no reason to use the mouse yet, unless you're doing the
Nintendo Tour.
Yeah.
Wait for Metroid and then do that in mouse mode for a minute and then probably don't bother.
I'll give it a go. I need an excuse to, I suppose, because at the moment there's nothing. There's absolutely no reason to. Should we talk about Mario Kart? Are we done with the hardware?
Unless you want to talk about other miscellaneous game type things before we talk about Mario Kart.
Well, what else you get?
Well, we've got the most important test.
The back compat tests. Yeah. Okay. Good news, everyone. The Switch 2 does just run old stuff better, even without updates. It's confirmed. The thing we wanted it to do, it does. So yeah, naturally, Zach and I did the ultimate test, which is Age of Calamity split screen. Runs pretty good. I mean,
yes. It runs way better, but we initially heard reports where people were just like, "Oh yeah, it's good," but then
it's a solid 30 now.
But because we know that game, I was like, "Well, let's get two characters with lightning supers and then do the lightning super at the same time." Then it still gets a bit framey. It's you can still make it suffer.
It still gets very framey in that instance, but it's not anywhere near as bad.
No.
But the rest of the experience is pretty good now. Yes, it's still Age of Calamity, so it's not an improved version of it, so you still have the draw distance problem and stuff like that. But performance, it's fine. It's fine. It's a good way to play that game.
I mean, I bet if you're playing it in single player, it would just be perfectly.
I bet it would be. I bet it would be. Yeah, I didn't try it, but because I guess as we proved, we're at the point in that game where we put it up to apocalyptic difficulty, and it's it's fine.
But we're over leveled though, because it doesn't scale back the earlier missions, and we were playing the first missions.
All our characters are pretty hardcore at this point, so it's it's fine. I tried Starlink as well because that could get a little framey in spots. And to be honest, I was most interested to see if the dynamic resolution or the resolution in general would be a bit better, because I think that game employs a little bit of dynamism to how it looks. I'm not sure that side of it was improved. Honestly, I think the dynamic I can understand why. I think games, when they optimize it for a system, they optimize how the dynamic resolution works based on the target hardware, right? It's a hard-coded thing. It's the scene is this complex, therefore render this this resolution. Easy, right? It's probably the easiest way to do it if you know the exact hardware you're working on. So I didn't notice that was any better. Frame rate, though, was fine. So didn't notice any problems there again. So it's good news. Digital Foundry have a good breakdown on a bunch of other stuff as well, including Bayonetta 3, which I haven't tried yet myself, but that game is now apparently perfect. Like, none of that 40 to 50 frame rate you get in some scenes, which made that game so horrid at spots. It's like, we were spoilt by the previous Bayonetta games, I guess. Like, we got this one and it just wasn't... The frame rate is an issue in that game. It's a really noticeable, nasty issue. So having that now perfected, it's kind of making me... Maybe I should give that another shot. Maybe I should give it another run through. See if it hooks me a bit better this time round. It's not my favourite Bayonetta, but maybe if the performance issues are removed. Yeah.
The best possible form. Yeah.
And then I played a brief amount of both versions of Tears of the Kingdom.
That's what I'm playing.
Yeah, so even the unpatched, the unswitched 2'd versions of Zelda can now hold the target 30 frames, right? That's good too.
I don't think I played it long enough to see that. Like, I just started it from the start in old mode and new mode.
Okay.
But obviously there's not much going on at the start of that game. You're not like building any giant things that are going to make it lag.
Sure. Or visiting Korok Forest.
Yes.
But yeah, even unswitched 2 editioned, like the performance problems are eradicated. So it's all good. It's all good news.
But obviously the most important thing about the upgraded version, which was a possibility that Nintendo weren't going to do it and we're going to fuck this all up, is they do give you a second save file in the updated version, so you don't have to completely overwrite your old game if you want to start fresh.
Yeah, that's nice.
Wow,
and
okay.
Breath of the Wild as well. Yeah. Which is really good.
You mean without like doing the profile trick, you mean?
Well, yeah, yes. Yeah. It's within your profile.
You get a second save slot within the one profile.
Amazing.
Which is really nice.
Like, they actually successfully did the correct thing, which was definitely possible they weren't going to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't even try the old version. I just bought the upgrade immediately, but it's super nice and smooth and crisp. It's like, it makes a huge difference on the 4K TV that I'm playing it on,
I bet.
or whatever, compared to before. I think, it's way nicer.
Is it a resolution?
I'm really pleased.
Is it a resolution bump as well as a...
Yeah, it's double the resolution from
nice.
900p to 1440p, upscaled to 4K.
I mean, I can definitely tell that from going from the old version to the new the update. I was like,
so much
man,
crisper.
this is... Well, actually, it was just notable starting the old version, even without seeing the new version. I was like, oh yeah, this is an old game, isn't it? I can see that resolution.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not actually. I mean, if you play Tears of the Kingdom, it's not an old game.
No,
it's the Switch.
Yes.
It's the Switch. Yeah. So it makes a massive difference because the art direction and everything and the quality of the models and stuff is such that obviously this isn't like I don't know what's a ridiculous looking game these days. It's not like an Unreal Engine game, is what I'm
I mean, Avowed was pretty good looking.
Avowed or something like that. But like, you do get a lot of more detail. Just literally just looking at Link and just looking at like the equipment on his back and stuff or whatever. It's like everything is so much nicer at double the resolution. It looks real nice. And then the load times. Oh my gosh, it's pretty quick. Like walking around, and like in Tears of the Kingdom, it's quicker to like whatever it is, levitate. What's it called? Where you go through the ceiling?
Ascend.
Ascend. It's quicker to ascend. Yeah, you know those times when you're waiting because it's loading like the map above you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that explains that it is a loading pause and not just a.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah. Because, if you're ascending through a small platform in the room, even in the old game, it was fine. But if you're ascending from inside a cave to the world, it's like, oh shit, I need to load the world.
See, a bit of me figured that was distance, like there. But
well, I mean,
that's kind of implied, yeah.
Yeah, it probably is to a certain degree, but yeah.
But I think it is a load.
Fair enough.
And that's a lot nicer, which makes a difference in the actual minute-to-minute gameplay.
Sure, yeah.
It's really nice.
Oh, in fact, I guess you probably can't. You probably don't do it during interesting moments of gameplay where it's like where that actually does change something, like timing wise.
It kind of pauses everything while you're doing that, right?
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
But there's quite a lot of things in Zelda that pause the game world, right? Like talking to people and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Or picking up an item.
Yeah.
Ba-da-da-da.
So if you want to know what I've been playing, I'm getting back into Tears of the Kingdom with a view to eventually ending it so we can talk about spoilers. But no, first I've got to find all the fucking Zonite in the world, probably. And map out every single light route in the depths or something. So it's probably going to take forever. But anyway, it's really good.
How does all the Master Hand stuff? Because that was the I mean, okay. Is that not what it's called?
Ultra Hand.
Ultra Hand, not Master Hand. Okay.
Yeah. So when you activate that used to always dip the frame rate momentarily for me. That's gone.
Tanked it.
So it's like, it. And
all
sometimes you'd get even when it was on and the effects were on, and the frame rate was okay. It was the moment of switching it on, you still got a dip.
Yeah.
And other times, and obviously as you're doing the Ultra Hand, building things and compiling them together, it would sometimes, as Zach said, get a bit slow. But
what if,
it seems
what if you build a really long stick of logs? That was the other thing. Like, the longer the thing was, sometimes that would make it get worse as well.
I haven't tried to, stress testing it with a long stick of logs.
Massive Korok catapult.
Yeah.
But it seems to be super smooth on everything I've done. So, and it's quite noticeable.
I wondered if the physics are slightly different because of the frame rate change, or if they're presumably they're unnoticeable to you, running just fine.
Didn't notice a difference. But yeah, I'd be interested in your keen eye on things. But it seems to just move. It's as if it's a native. Doesn't feel like. It's not like this is a port to a new system or something. It feels like the same, just better.
Right. Yeah. Because presumably they would have had to have done a pass on it to improve all the menu graphics to sharpen them up a bit.
Yeah, if it's Switch 2 edition, so even when you open the menu and you go to the right and it shows your controller, it shows your Switch 2 Pro controller or whatever with the Switch 2 logo and everything. So it's all updated. But
it explains where some of the money went. Why you're paying for it when they do it, as opposed to a Mario Odyssey update, right, where it's the base resolution of that game hasn't, but they haven't changed any assets in that game, right? Or the max resolution it runs at, right? It's all just,
No, I tried that, and that is the frame rate's the same because it was always 60, but the resolution is higher.
Oh, they have up the res. Oh, okay, yes, interesting.
Noticeably, so similar effect where it's crisp. Because that didn't really have performance issues too much on Switch. It was pretty stable. 60,
right. So does that make the UI elements look a bit funny because I guess they wouldn't have been designed at that target resolution?
I don't really.
Because I assumed that's what you're paying for to an extent with Tears of the Kingdom, right? Because they did a full pass on it, whereas the free ones maybe they didn't
improve them. Because I didn't notice. Interesting. So maybe they did take the effort for, because it's not that many games that have that free update. There's the select Nintendo first party ones like Captain Toad's got it, and the 3D Mario 3D World,
the 2D-esque Zeldas.
So I think they must have put a certain amount of effort into those, but I think the Zelda editions, you get all that weird stuff like the smartphone app and things like that to go with it. So
I was going to ask if you'd used
I haven't tried that.
Notes or whatever.
I want to, but obviously I can't because I have a phone that's good enough.
Maybe I should try it because now I'm going around Hyrule like crap. Now I'm trying to get my armor upgraded.
Yeah, now you have a reason to have it GPS you into Koroks.
Exactly. And I'm chasing Master Koga around the depths, so that's fun. Where he's using all weird Zonai shit. So that's quite cool. I got the Master Sword finally.
Yeah.
Which is quite fun.
It's a cool sequence.
So that was good. Yeah, I was farming dragons for a while. That's the first thing I did with my new Switch. Everyone's playing Mario Kart and standing around on a dragon for half an hour trying to but it's good. I'm fully back into it, so it's cool. And it's a good game. So there's that, and then I'll probably play some Mario Odyssey again, because I don't think I played that through more than once. I don't think.
I mean, I haven't, no. But I still don't know where my damn copy is, so sure.
But yeah, I think I said, but Astro Bot was pretty damn good and looked amazing and stuff. I think you would really like it, Rob, if you
I'm sure
had
I would.
the chance to play it. but like it ain't Mario. Put it as soon as I was playing Odyssey and getting moons, I was like, holy crap! They really know what they're doing.
I remember that year the Switch came out, and we had a legitimate fight about it wasn't that much of a fight, but there's me thinking, you know what? I think Mario might be. I might like Mario more than Breath of the Wild. It's
I still think Breath of the Wild is the best game probably I've ever played. But yeah, Odyssey's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I was basically minute to minute fun. Mario Odyssey is more my thing, but you're definitely right. You're definitely right.
A lot of people would say Tears of the Kingdom is preferable these days, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So now we can talk about Mario Kart, I guess.
Yep.
Unless there's any other. No one's been playing F-Zero GX or anything, I think.
No, I haven't done. When none of us have got the expansion pass for F-Zero GX.
Right.
Technically.
Oh, do you?
I was just like, if I'm going to re-up my Nintendo Online for a year, I might as well get the whole thing just for that year
and play with it.
But I haven't done any of the actual stuff for it, apart from the expansion files for
the
Zelda.
Yeah, you get those for free.
So I haven't actually purchased those. I just have them for a year.
Yeah.
But I probably will buy them anyway.
Yeah, I'd be interested because there were some concerns, weren't there, about the F-Zero GX version they're using, like that they were using the EU version incorrectly paced, like it was going to the 50 hertz mode rather than the 60 hertz mode. So, I wonder if they've fixed that up.
But has technically played a F-Zero game
incredibly briefly. Yeah, I said I sort of teased last time. It's like, I'm going to be playing that Fast Fusion more than the Mario Kart. It's like, no, I've only just touched Fast Fusion. It's a pretty game. It's a very pretty game. It seems to be okay. Again, it's worth checking out the Digital Foundry view on it. It seems to have some image quality issues, which is surprising from Shin'en. They're leaning very heavily on DLSS. Which means its internal res is probably quite low, and then they're using DLSS to upscale it pretty heavily. But I mean, on the surface, in fairness, let's go back. Fast RMX and Fast Racing Neo were relying heavily on dynamic resolution scaling to pull off the look they were. So those were quite pixely games anyway. But that's the thing. It doesn't. The thing here is it's the. Like a lot of modern games, it's the rendering quality of lighting and geometry and all of that stuff, which is it was already a quite pretty game, and it's even prettier now. There's a lot going on. The lighting looks lovely. The geometry, the amount of detail going on, the forest sections in particular, there's a lot of stuff there. It's all running at a cracking frame rate. The music's great. From the little bit I've played so far, it's I'm going to be into this. I'm definitely going to be into this. The only thing at least in the early tracks I've tried, and at the novice speed level, because you have to unlock the faster speeds, I would say the tracks haven't been super interesting so far, apart from maybe that one shortcut that Zach saw me we were like, oh, is there a route down there? Well, that looks kind of weird. That makes use of the new jump mechanic. There's a button to fling yourself into the air, and it's not just a little hop like in Mario Kart. No, this is a fling yourself. You go quite high with this jump. It's like hitting the jump pads on F-Zero, but without the jump pads. It's interesting. And those used to be pads in the previous fast racing games. They used to be jump pads that flung you up if you were the right phase, the right color that matched them. So it's that's now been replaced with a manual system, and it's interesting. And the unlock system is now currency based. You've got to earn currency in order to then choose what you want to unlock. But then the weirder thing, I really don't have a handle on at the moment, is the fusion system, which is you can take two ships from the ships that you have unlocked and mush them together into a new ship. Which removes those ships from your availability list. You can't go back to the other ones. You have to spend currency to fuse them together into something else. But then you can't use either of those base ships once you've fused them. They're gone. And you have the option to dismantle them back into two, but then presumably I've got to spend currency to fuse other ships together. And it's okay, this now leads to a bit of maybe wouldn't say permanency, that's not the word I was looking for, but maybe you have to, like, if you find a ship that you like and maybe you want to improve that ship, maybe then you have to make a conscious choice about what's a ship I don't like, maybe I want to fuse that in. I don't know. There's a little bit more toying with the ships here that's kind of, could be quite interesting, I think, in trying to make your ideal craft. It's interesting, and it's extremely pretty. And I just, as with all of it, I just love its vibe. It's got
all with the vibes.
It's a me game,
except not me's.
except not me's. Yeah, there's no
These
me.
still exist on the Switch too. Still that menu option that you go in the settings and it's like
still
create
there,
a me.
but they're not in Mario Kart World.
No, obviously
They're not there. Anyway, that's all I've got to say on Fast Fusion at this point. I'll definitely talk more about it when I sink more time into it, but I'm super early at the moment.
Right, we better talk Mario Kart because we're already over time.
Oh, we're way over time, but yeah. Mario Kart World.
It's a game.
It's a game. I have mixed feelings about it, if I'm being honest, because I mean, Mario Kart 8 is such a juggernaut at this point. Like, it's hard not to compare it to that and how Mario Kart has been in the modern era, I suppose. Let's try not to Rob review this. How do we want to do this? It's pretty. Like it's definitely a different look from Mario Kart 8. I love the sponginess of the squash and stretch, I suppose, of the karts and how they animate around.
Yeah.
The new lighting does look nice and look more natural, I suppose. It's a more realistic tint, I suppose, on how they've lit these games in the past. The sort of 4 phases of lighting in the world. Like, it's not a dynamic lighting system. It's like 4 baked states that it transitions between. But they look pretty nice. But it does. Although I'm leaning into Rob review territory already. Ignore that. I'll come back to that because that's like both a positive and a negative.
Well, we can say the one other thing that is, I would say, 100% success is the music, obviously.
Oh yes, 100%.
The music is banging.
The soundtrack is fabulous. Yeah,
and it does like all the transitional bits and everything. It's just like they've actually thought about that real well.
I mean, some of it, not so much. Some of it does just like. In the races where you end up not on a track and go to a track, it tends to just fade out and fade into that track's music. Depends on what the
track is.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of the time if it doesn't do the direct fade out, sometimes it just has what is basically a really short loop that it plays until you cross the start line and then it goes into the actual music, basically.
Yeah, there's something to that. The structure, I guess, is kind of what we thought it would be in the end. So the traditional Grand Prix, as you once knew them, are gone. Like, they're not a thing. You don't just do the tracks now. You do 3 laps of the first track, and then the subsequent tracks are the journey to the track, and then a lap of that track, which I think we already knew, right, yes. Before going into this.
We knew,
that's exactly what it is. I think it's really stupid that the traditional Grand Prix format isn't even an option. That is, I think that's quite annoying, for reasons that we'll get to, because the track designs seem good. The actual tracks, like, I'm hard pressed to say that they're better than Mario Kart 8. Like, I think maybe Mario Kart 8's track design is stronger, and I'm not even talking about the booster pass stuff. I think just the base Mario Kart 8 stuff is stronger. For reasons, like there's a multitude of reasons that could explain that. But the open world stuff does make races simultaneously interesting and not interesting.
Yeah,
like it's nice to have something new to the formula for sure. The point-to-point nature is kind of nice. The 24 players makes races hella chaotic at times, which can be great fun. And it's just that feeling of being like, oh, I'm in first, oh, I'm 22nd. Like, it's like in an instant. Like, the time to Mario Kart can be pretty low in Mario Kart. Blue shells still do what blue shells do. Like, all of that is still here. The and is the number of combinations you can have in going from race to race, like outside of the Grand Prix. If you're doing like the online play, like there are an awful lot of potential routes there.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was like thinking about because like I mean, I'm sure it already exists, but I was very tempted to be like, I'm just going to make a spreadsheet, play every one of these different routes, and then write down the ones that are actually good.
Yeah.
Like, find out which ones the ones you want to play are. I'm sure that already exists on the internet somewhere. Like, some community-driven voting system.
Probably, yeah. Like, yeah, so it's... Some of the complaints about, or worries about the open world are valid, though. There's an awful lot of just straight lines, and in general, I think things are too wide. Just the playfield of roads and like stuff is too wide. And that can be said of both the open world and to a lesser extent of the tracks themselves. Because I think what's happened here is like it feels like they made the game and then thought, no, this needs to be bigger, and just like cranked a slider and said, let's make this 25 to 50% bigger. Because the scaling feels weird. Like, you feel small in the world.
You are literally small. Like, if you ever drive up to any of the crowd NPCs,
they're huge
compared to even, like, the same person in the car.
Yeah,
like,
Yoshi next to Yoshi. Yeah, it's weird.
But I don't think that's necessarily the track geometry.
No, I wonder if some of that's just visibility.
Yes, it's just so you can see the crowd are characters and not just blobs.
Yeah. But like that's true of like you can sort of tell on tracks that are returning from previous games, right? Like they are ostensibly the same track, but they're bigger. Like the width of the circuit is definitely larger, and as a result of that, I think the game feels a little less tight to actually drive, and sometimes maybe a little less thrilling to drive as a result, because it is a slower game. Like, regardless of what the actual speed rating of the karts you're driving is, the fact that you're not turning as quickly and the tracks are that little bit larger, it's not as rapid paced as Mario Kart 8 was, or maybe, well, a lot of the earlier ones were a lot faster in that regard, and a lot tighter, a lot quicker, a lot sharper, shall we say. There's a flutiness to this.
Sure, I guess.
That feels very accessible. Let's put it that way.
Well,
and
yeah.
it's like, it feels maybe a bit too modern Nintendo.
But the solution to that problem, which they nearly did but didn't do, would be to make, like, the rail grinding and charge jumping actually matter at all.
Yeah, so we haven't even talked about that. The new mechanics, like, yeah, obviously the rail grind and the charge jump and stuff like that do open up opportunities that tracks have been modified to use. The returning tracks have been modified to make use of that.
But not nearly enough is the problem.
I don't know, some of the, like, wild short... They're not obvious. I think there's plenty of techniques you could do with this stuff, but, like, it's not necessarily immediately apparent how they're useful. Like, and I think that's a failing of the track design, like, to an extent. There's sometimes you can see there's a route there, but, like, how to actually get to it isn't super obvious, or...
Well, but then sometimes you get the alternate problem of that, where you see a thing that you think is a route, but it's actually just because it's the open world encroaching into the track.
Yes, so that's another bit of a problem. Like, when you're on a bit of track, going out of bounds can sometimes be very easy now.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes that's because of the new elements they've added, because of the wall grinding, because of the jumps, because of the rails being... and you could just hop off them in a bad direction. And other times it just seems like poor design. Like there's some courses where there's like a crowd lining the track with like a barrier you can destroy in front of them. So you just knock into that barrier and it repositions you immediately. And
that's just like another version of a cliff, basically.
Kinda, but like it just kind of like it just make it a hard barrier. It would you'd still get penalized for hitting the wall, like by losing speed. It didn't have to be a full on reposition because you're slightly off your line. It's like that feels really harsh when it happens. Or you get blasted there because of like, I don't know,
Mario Kart happening.
Yeah, combatants doing stuff to you. It can happen, and it's pretty annoying.
But yeah, the rail grinding and charge jumping is like, they nearly did it, except I don't think they did it enough within the confines of the tracks, and then when you're in the open world, it's almost always a disadvantage to even do any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, not in the open world. I mean, like in the point-to-point races, basically, which is the open world.
Yeah, because there aren't many actual designed routes, or there aren't many designed shortcuts in the interstitials segments. It's like all of the really neat design is in the tracks, which are now only really doing a third of the time.
And like the other thing that makes that kind of even more obvious and slightly more annoying is that like the majority of the tracks, if you play them individually, it's just like do 3 laps or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's like 4 or 5 where it's 1 lap, but it's 1 lap broken into 3 because it's a really long lap. And it's like, these are the cool tracks. These tracks actually have a lot of options and a lot of different alternate routes.
Like Peach Beach is an interesting one, right? What was a fairly simple 1 lapper is now a 3 lapper.
3 laps of 1 lap.
is now a 1 lapper where each segment is pretty distinct.
And then that leads into another thing that's even more weird, which is like these tracks which are 1 lap broken into 3 segments. There's no way to change how many laps you do, so you can't even play these tracks multiple laps because the lap just ends.
It just ends.
It's like it's built like a lap, but there's no option to change the lap count, so you can't do more than 1 lap.
And even, that's true even in the versus settings. You can't increase the lap count yourself, even in custom rule games, which is a bit weird.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that you would hope that they could potentially just patch in, because that's just basically a UI feature. Like,
imagine if they just put Baby Park back in it, but just gave me the option to make it
They did put Baby Park back in. It's called Cooper Trooper Beach now.
It's not the same. It's a lot bigger.
It's not that much bigger. It's just more circular.
It's a lot bigger.
It's not really.
It's a lot bigger.
I guess it doesn't have solid barriers all the way around the outside, so you don't get as much shells bouncing back in.
That's what you want. You want green shell doom.
But that track is completely worthless, basically. There's not even any rails on it, really. I mean, there are technically, but...
It's not that. It's not very interesting. It's the least interesting track in the game. And
then one of the other...
But I do kind of like the Cooper rave aesthetic.
Sure. Yes.
Like, there's one thing this game does get pretty good is aesthetics. Like, it's like the look and the music and the whole vibe is pretty nice. Like, okay, there's no Luigi Death Stare now, but
there is kind of.
That's not the same. Again, not the same. Partly because they've got rid of the old highlight reel system, right? That was like Mario Kart 8 didn't have full replays, but it had the highlight reel, which was cool because it sort of like just showed bits of the race with fancy camera angles and slowdowns. So the Luigi Death Stare was really highlighted and it was sweet. But that's gone now, like in replace of like a full replay system. This is a shame. I think a lot of my beef with Mario Kart World is because there were things that were in Mario Kart 8 that were good that are not here. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe eventually got updated to have things like a music player and just a bunch of settings and configuration and home and mirror mode. Well, okay, mirror mode is unlockable, but like and 200cc mode. It's like Mario Kart 8 like feels like the full package now, and this isn't there yet. And we have absolutely no knowledge of whether any of that stuff's going to turn up or not. And it's
like is this the civilization problem?
Yes, exactly. It's the exact same thing with like, are they going to patch it back in for free, or is it going to be... Well, it's not exactly the same. I don't think we're going to be getting that kind of UI stuff as DLC in Mario Kart. It will be, if anything's in Mario Kart, it's going to be tracks as DLC.
Sure, yeah.
They're not going to be like 200cc as a paid DLC. If they
I really hope not. No, because it was 200cc wasn't in launch in 8 either. That in the Wii U one, right? It got added to the Wii U one later. And I don't think you had to buy the track pack to get it. I think that just came.
That really is the question of like how much free patching is this going to get aside from the inevitable theoretical DLC.
Yeah, I think it gives veteran game players, like anyone who's not a casual, not a filthy casual. Anyone who's not just, like, when you play games, what do you play? Mario Kart? Like, with kids? That type, you know what I mean? I think for them, it's absolutely fine. But for people who play games, it's like it feels like a lot of missed potential. Like, not because the core itself is bad, but because there's a lot there that's like, if you'd have gone a little bit further with this, you might have justified the $80.
Yep.
Like, it's really hard to get past that. But it's like, does this feel like an $80 game? No. Not even close. Like, it's not a. I mean, if Tears of the Kingdom, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe justifies that price. This does not.
Doesn't matter to them though, does it? Because it won't affect sales.
Nope,
so
not at all. They're doing it because they can.
I mean, I hope there's going to be like. It's hard to tell with Nintendo because you get the feeling that they probably don't ever like read reviews or read community review type things, like just random people on YouTube or whatever making videos about it. But like, you'd hope that that message might get through because I mean, it feels like Nintendo have in general gotten too much of an ego of everyone praising them about how high quality and bug free their shit is, and then they've kind of forgotten that you also have to like make content.
Yeah, yeah, because they're not wrong. It is high quality. Yeah. It is well made. I haven't experienced a bug. I don't think
I mean, I've had a couple of weird physics things happen, but that's just physics.
See, I'm not sure even I have. Like, I don't think I've even seen anything like that. I would go like, well, that's a bit weird. It's been pretty. It's been very consistent.
Yeah. And on the Zelda side, though, Tears of the Kingdom is not exactly lacking content.
No, that's almost the opposite. Like,
yes. No. And that's why you can say it's like, that's probably worth $80. Whereas this doesn't feel like it is.
No.
In terms of content.
Yes, the world.
The polish is still just as good as every Nintendo game. But...
I mean, yes, the world is big, but like as I said, it's pockets of really pristine content, the tracks.
Yeah.
And a lot of not ill thought through. That's being harsh. But just a lot more. How do you even describe it? Like, it is more boring. Like, the world is more boring.
Yeah.
Like, it is bigger, it is open, but there's clearly, like, even if you're just looking at the terrain, right, there's almost a boundary between this is where the track begins and this is where the world style is. Yeah. And the two, and you can tell there's a simplification boundary of sorts between the two.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's, and that's a, what did you expect in some respect? You can, but it is obvious, and unfortunately that does take away from the interstitials. It does take away from the roots, and then it makes Knockout Tour, which, to be fair, I think is a killer addition. I like playing Knockout Tour online. It is a lot of fun, but it mostly takes place on the interstitial parts, right? Even when they go to a track, Knockout Tour doesn't do the track. Yeah. Like it just goes by, which is a shame. Like, I think it's I think that could be improved.
Although it would make it even fucking longer than it already is.
Yeah, it is pretty long. Those races are pretty long. Which is why they get treated as a Grand Prix in single player, right? You just do those. You don't have to do a set of them.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun. I do like Knockout Tour. It's just, as I say, it's just a shame it's on these slightly less interesting bits of track. Apart from the very last bit, right? That's on a track. Usually.
Well, yeah, you do the one lap essentially at the end.
Yeah, you do the one lap. And at that point it's only 4 players. So it's
so you can get Mario Kart even easier.
You can get Mario Kart. Oh, yeah, every time. I've still not won one. I've been so close to winning and just get Mario Karted on the line.
It's like, you'd think,
because it's Mario Kart.
You would think with less people there'd be less chance of you getting murdered because there'd be less chaos, but it turns out that when there's less people, there's less targets for the chaos to hit.
Yeah.
So you're more likely to get targeted.
Yeah, and it just leads to, again, when you start thinking about that stuff, it's like, it just leads to where the new power-ups aren't that interesting.
No.
Like the ice and the fire flowers, they're just more
identical.
Yeah, they're just more.
They're
identical.
What do you do with the feather when you don't have anything that you're supposed to be jumping up to?
I mean, in theory, you can use it to dodge stuff.
Yeah.
So if you time it just right, in theory, you could jump the red shell.
Can't jump a blue though.
Can't jump a blue. No. You can still horn the blues. That's still a thing. Yes. It's like the wonder thing.
And you can still outboost the blues if you time it right.
Yeah, I've never managed that.
But you're not going to have a boost in first anyway, usually.
No, not usually.
That doesn't drop.
The power-ups feel like a missed opportunity. I still feel like they need to go back to Double Dash and bring some of those back. I mean, even Mario Kart 8 had some that don't turn up here, like the Piranha Plant. And
but that'd be too confusing because now there's just a driver that's a problem.
Yeah, they don't seem worried about that. They don't mind combining here, like just throw everyone in. I mean, we haven't seen returning characters from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, like inkling, or they're not doing
the Smash Brothers ones.
Yeah, they're not doing the crossovers. I mean, the P switches are fun, but they could have done with a bit more. I think they could have done with like being. I think maybe they should have had like a or maybe a mobile game style like star success rating. Like you can clear them. There's a easy way, because most of them are quite easy. But then I would have liked to no, here's the perfect run challenge. Like do that challenge again, but like here's the hard version of it. I think I would have liked that on them.
But then they would also need to do the thing that they didn't do that we said they weren't going to do, which is put any goddamn tracking of what ones you've done or anything in the game.
On the map, yeah.
All you get is a number, which is completely useless because it doesn't even tell you, it's not even a number out of a total, it's just a number.
I kind of like that, not telling it, I kind of like not knowing what the upper limit is.
Sure, but how are you ever going to find some of them at that point? That's the worst thing.
Because you don't know where on the map where you've found things or where you haven't really done stuff. There's no indication on the map where you've found things.
There is for the question mark tiles because they're linked to the tracks.
Because they're only on the tracks, yeah.
But then, not for the piece which is all the medallions. It's just if you know that if you've looked up the number and you're like, oh, I've only got one more to find, good fucking luck.
Not that any of that.
Or you just look at a map, I guess. Someone will have made a map by now, probably.
And I have found myself, just in free roam more than I thought, even though I'm aware that it's utterly pointless.
Yeah.
Because there's none of the unlocks are tied to it.
Unless you need to get a lot more coins quicker.
Well, okay, true. Yes, you can do that to get the cars, but then you max that out pretty quick, to be honest. You get all the cars pretty fast.
Or you could cheesily grind for outfits by just parking in front of a burger booth and changing character over and over.
Yeah, although I'm sure some of them are tied to the area.
Yes, they are. It's area specific. So even if you have to know which characters would get which outfit, or try every single one.
Yeah. I mean, the outfits are kind of some of the more interesting stuff, but even that, the distribution. Oh, sorry, I'll finish my original point. Because the only unlocks for any of the free roam stuff other than costumes is stickers, and they like to stick on the carts, but they are so tiny on the model that they are.
And sometimes they literally don't exist.
And so on some carts they're not even there. Yeah,
but they do also appear on your name tag, I guess, when you're in multiplayer.
Yeah, but even on those they're tiny.
Yes.
It's such an imperceptible thing. It's to the point of it being there's not even any real moment where the game appropriately zooms in to show off who won or anything like that. So you can see what their sticker is, or
it does show their name tag at the end with it's slightly bigger there, right?
Oh, does it? Well, on the
I literally can't.
I'm not sure it does.
That.
I think it's always the same. Yeah,
and there's also that weird thing where I'm not even sure where it is. Is it in your friends list, but you have a player card essentially that has the sticker and I guess what character you played last on it?
Yeah, you're right. You do. If you go to the join a player section, that pops up.
Yeah, it's and that's kind of the only place that exists.
Yeah, it's not even in online against other players. Unless there's a way of saying you played against. Did you play against this guy recently? I can't remember if that even exists.
But yeah, that's weird as well.
But I mean, even the ranking list for online is time trials is weird.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem particularly well done. I would have liked leaderboards for the friend leaderboards for the P switches, you could compete against your friends for times. I would have liked the P switches to exist in a multiplayer free roam, which also doesn't really exist unless you're building a friend lobby for another game mode. But then not everything appears in free roam with players, so you can't do that as a group thing particularly. Some weird choices, some weird limiting choices here that could have made the experience a lot better.
And there's also the more things that would be cool that we weren't really expecting them to do, but they still could, where it's you should be able to make a custom knockout tour by selecting several points on the map, because that's literally how they're made, and every one of those routes exists.
An online Grand Prix is kinda that.
Kind of.
Because it gives you a set of tracks nearby. And so some of those routes, I don't think, turn up on knockout tours, right? Because they're and I don't think some of those routes turn up on Grand Prix.
Yeah, they just don't turn up at all in the base setup of the game.
So online ends up being way more organic as a result, and kind of way more interesting to play than the solo stuff, which is. I don't know. It's good. That's a good thing. But
it's good. But it'd be nice to have that be an option you could actually not just random, basically.
Yeah, and then you can set up something like that in like versus mode with other people.
Yes, with
because you can set up the route that way. You can do that. But
yeah, and then obviously with that and they should be able to patch in the ability to change the number of laps for the tracks and that kind of thing. It's like there are still things they could do that would significantly improve things, even without adding more content.
I haven't got any comments on battle mode yet.
No.
I will check that out at some point, but historically, I'm not a fan of battle mode, so I might not be the best judge. But 24-player battle mode, maybe that's a bit more weird.
But the battle arenas are huge, of course.
Yeah, because they're the tracks.
Yes,
that's the other weird choice. There's no like specific battle arenas. Like they're just the tracks.
Or parts of the open world sometimes.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay. I'll take that back then.
I think it's like half and half.
Ah, fair enough. Okay, that makes more sense.
But even then, it's still just like it's just a section of road essentially that's just sort of more open, I guess. One of those bits where the road splits into several bits that isn't part of a track.
Right. But it's still Mario Kart.
Yeah, for all the Rob review / Saladcast review we've just done.
It's easier to find the differences and the weird stuff than it is the good stuff, because the good stuff everyone knows. It's Mario Kart. And it's still Mario Kart, and it still plays very well. I made things worse for myself because I've played some Mario Kart 8 in the last 2 weeks. So that game's real good. That game is really good. And I think that's Mario Kart World's biggest problem, is that Mario Kart 8 is really good. And harder to fault because it doesn't have... It's not as experimental. Let's put it that way. Mario Kart 8 isn't as experimental. And that's why it's easy to put it on a pedestal. You got to appreciate Mario Kart World for trying something new. You absolutely have to do that. I mean, Nintendo could have easily have just given us another Mario Kart and slapped a 9 on it. But they are trying something else. It's just, when you put it in a world with Forza Horizons and Open World Drive, and even Lego 2K Drive existing, there's more they could have pulled off here.
Well, yeah.
And they needed to. Well, they don't need, as you said, they don't need to justify that $80. But in a historical and review sense, and looking back on it years from now.
Well,
they should have done more. Yeah.
Looking it back on from years now, hopefully they will have patched several of these things to make it better.
Maybe this won't be a problem. Yeah, maybe this won't be a problem, but we don't know what they're going to do. It's still a great game. Good to great. Let's put it there. It's in the good to great boundary. Mario Kart 8 is a great game. But,
with all the stuff in it now.
Even end of Wii U Mario Kart 8 is a great game. I don't own a copy of Deluxe, so it's that makes it a bit trickier. But.
And the one thing that we referenced earlier that we haven't talked about in Mario Kart 8 was in Mario Kart World is the bit where the frame rate gets cut, which was really disappointing. I was playing this brand new system and I was like, oh yeah, this looks real awesome on my monitor and everything, and it's running great and all this stuff. And then you drive up to one of the binoculars in the open world and it goes into an overhead view and the frame rate cuts.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. It's like the one place it does it.
Yeah.
In the sort of weird green machines that in Odyssey,
you capture them and they fly up and then you look around.
Yeah.
Right.
They sort of have a really simplified version of those, but when you're doing that, the frame rate halves, and it's
annoying.
It just looks weird. I can see why they would do it, because they want to increase the LOD spec so you can actually probably see stuff and spot stuff,
and it'll be rendering more than you'd usually be able to see from ground level anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So I can see why they would do that.
But that's a dumb problem to have given yourself.
Yeah.
Especially because usually those binoculars are not really worth using for the purpose that you'd want to use them for, which is to look for things to get. Because a lot of the time they're not out in the open for you to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that was the disappointment of the frame rate.
And if you're playing in 3 and 4 player mode, split screen, it still does the frame rate halving thing.
The mini map's kind of cool. Like
the fact that it's 3D is it is just
the frame rate.
It is just a camera, right? Like it's just another camera floating above.
Although again, still completely screws you when you're searching for stuff because as soon as you're under anything, it just goes away.
Disappears, yeah. You can't see.
You can't search for question mark panels that are inside a building or anything because you can't see it then.
And that thing hasn't been. It's not clip proof. I have made stuff clip that.
Sure.
Like proving that it is just a camera. It's like but it is a neat extra perspective. I do like it. Yeah. But it goes away during races. Like it's only for free roam. And it has helped me spot some stuff on occasion. It's like, there's a question mark on top of that building. Now I've got to figure out how to get there. And if you're really quick, you can do the question marks in the online lobby while you're waiting for the next race.
Right, the panels.
Yeah. And the peach medallions if there's one nearby.
Right.
You can do those. If you're fast. It's a pretty good game. Is what I'm saying. Let's see what they do.
Yes. Let's hope they do something relatively quickly.
Let's hope we get more Switch 2 games as well.
Well, yes, but we know we're going to next month.
It's pretty slim. In fact. Yeah, Bonanza's not far away.
Yeah, Bonanza, and then hopefully we get Metroids this year.
I mean, they still haven't said, have they? Yeah.
I mean, they have said this year. They haven't said anything more than that.
Quite excited to play Metroid Prime.
Oh, yeah, I'm very hyped for that.
Might play Metroid Prime Remastered, I don't know.
I think you should.
I don't know if if that had a Switch 2 patch, that would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't, but I think there were a couple of spots where the remaster did get a touch framey, so clearly they won't be a problem on Switch 2, so it's probably still it'll still be a good time.
Apparently, this is just sort of news, I suppose, but apparently there's problems with Pikmin 3 on the Switch 2.
Oh, really?
Like, that being emulated onto the Switch 2 version is like, there's some kind of actual problems there.
Huh. I mean, it was unlikely everything was going to be perfect.
Well, yeah, sure. And at least it's not the most recent Pikmin game, I suppose.
True.
It's one back.
Yeah. Which means I'll probably never fix it.
Yeah, probably.
Alrighty.
That might be a podcast.
That might do it for our Switch 2 podcast. I'm sure we'll have plenty to say about the system and the games in future installments.
I wonder if all the Mario Kart World music is going to turn up on the Nintendo Music
Everyone
app.
hopes so. Or, another thing that they should patch into the game, a music player.
I mean, they don't watch it. Mario Kart 8 has a music player. So it's, they should do that. Fast Fusion has a music player.
There you go.
Ridge Racer Type 4 has a music player.
A lot of games have music players.
Yeah.
Star Fox Adventures has a music player.
Oh, yeah, it totally does.
Plug for our video series on YouTube.
Good segue. Good segue, my friend.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for the Nintendo-a-thon. And do check out our YouTube channel, Happy Salad, if you want more weird Nintendo stuff, like Star Fox Adventures, which I don't know if you can get that on the... I don't think that's available on the virtual
Not yet. I'm betting it will be. I'm betting it's going to turn up on the game.
Maybe one day it will be. But while you wait, you can watch our Let's Play on the Happy Salad YouTube channel. And then we shall return with another Saladcast in 2 weeks' time. So we will catch you then.
I'm going to get ahead and just pre-warn if you're holding out for maybe the next Star Wars event. I might be a little behind. I've got some hella busy weeks coming up. So
okay.
My ability
Editing might take some time.
Yeah, my ability to get it sorted might be a little late, but it'll be there. We're still going to record them at the same cadence, so I'll catch up eventually. Anyway, just warning. Delay your hype.
Malay.
That's not
Malay your hype.
That wasn't the word I was looking for.
Okay. Bye.